And if little things in life annoy you, then you are going to like the Daily Grape. I'll share my pet peeves with you, and I'll feel better about it. The Scraby Show, weekdays, 6 to 7 p.m. on 97.3 The Fan.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here for Gwynn and Chris. Get your sports fix weekdays with us. We'll break down everything that's happening with some debating in between. Gwynn and Chris weekdays 2 to 6 on 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station. The workday is coming to an end.
It is 5 o'clock. I will see you all tomorrow.
But Gwynn and Chris are just getting started.
Sports talk it is.
Your hosts, Tony Gwynn Jr.
First, wait. Whoa! I threw everybody off with that one. Whoa! What just happened?
And Chris Ello.
I think he's kind of a mouth.
Oh, my gosh. What does that mean?
He just says a bunch of stuff that I don't agree with.
All right. I'm going to move on from this as fast as possible.
Number 2. It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
What's the matter, Adam Klug? You couldn't find any highlights from the weekend? They're in short supply as we welcome everybody in for a Monday. It is Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park. Adam Klug sitting in today for Mr. Scraby, who you all probably just heard from here over the last few hours, but we'll take you the rest of the way right up until, yes, they haven't canceled the game tonight. The Padres must play on, and the Cincinnati Reds are in town tonight to start a 3-game series. Before we go to, anything beyond questions and all that, I just want to make it clear that I didn't have any explanations for what's going on Friday before the weekend, and I don't have any now. So if you're expecting me, you're tuning in and you want, to solve the issue, I haven't come up with it. So Tony, I'm sure you're probably thinking about the same.
Yeah, ditto. I have no answers for you. Yeah, man, there's just nothing to really break down. It's pretty much the same thing that it has been for the Padres. They continue, I think, from a macro standpoint, they continue to struggle with runners in scoring position, even in the few opportunities that they're creating now. In the micro, I think the thing I notice most, or I've started to notice most, is, we've all in all had some pretty good pitching. Every game Padres have been in, they haven't been, blowouts. The other team is not missing the mistakes that the Padres, give them. And I'm talking in the hitting zone. Or at least they're not missing a lot of them.
No.
Or fouling them off.
Yeah, I mean, Vasquez wanted that curveball back the second he threw it yesterday, and 100%. It was in the stands by Simeon. 100%. So, yeah.
And it's hard to say that the Padres aren't being presented with some of those same opportunities. That may have been the case in different points, but there's been, at least in these last 6, Padres have had opportunities in terms of balls in the zone that they could do damage to, and that we've seen them do damage to, and they're fouling them off, or, they're not. So yesterday there was a couple for the Padres that I was telling Jesse I actually was excited about, like pitches in the zone that they could hammer and they just missed them, like ball ends up on a warning track. I'll take that versus fouling it off, because there's a difference, I think, between getting that pitch in the zone, fouling it off, and getting that pitch in the zone, and maybe being a click out in front and like hitting it to the warning track. But just too many of those right now, I think, for the Padres. And I don't have an answer for why that is.
I don't think anybody does. If we did, we would have fixed it by now. And unfortunately, we're now into, basically about the 5th week of this struggle. You go back to the beginning of May. Hey, look, I've got all the numbers here, and I could, throw them all out there. They're not going to change a whole lot. None of them are very good to look at or to read off. All they do is back up what we already know, and that is that for 5 weeks, this team is not hit. The season, statistics overall, definitely ranked them last in every major category, ranked them last in every minor category for that matter. So, that's what they have. And, look, I don't want to, we could pick on one player. We could pick on one play. We could pick on one at bat. I honestly feel like it's just not even necessary right now. Like, to me, when your child has done something wrong and comes home and goes to cower in the corner because they're scared about what you might yell at them, no need to yell at them at that point. So that's kind of what I feel like. I mean, what are we going to sit here and just browbeat the team and, this guy can't hit, that guy can't hit? Yeah, we know. I don't have
everybody though.
Right.
It's everybody though.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Ty gets an exemption in this. Maybe Toddy gets an exemption in this right now. But everybody else is pretty much on the same playing field. Yes, we could pick at Toddy for trying to steal third. It wasn't a smart play. It was a bad base running play. But let's dig into why he's even thinking along those lines, right? He knows what we all know, that we are hitting, I don't know what the exact number is, but we ain't hitting very good with a runner in scoring position to get a hit there. Let me see if I can get to third. Maybe, a wild pitch. That's how you start thinking when things aren't going right. Yeah, it seems silly in the time once you get the throw goes down and he's just getting into his head first slide and he's out by a mile. But those are symptoms of what happens when a team is struggling the way the Padres do. You start trying to do things that, if everything was going right, you wouldn't try necessarily.
There's actually a path. The way they're hitting so badly right now, there's a path to thinking that through Tatis's mind, he almost felt the best chance we have to score is if I steal third and they throw the ball into left field and I come home. That's overstating it. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you've got to be critical of that play if you're a fan of baseball and you understand that, taking a chance right there is not a great play. But I don't disagree with what you're saying, Tony. When you start, it's like when you lose something, you start looking in the obvious places. After a while, you're looking in the freezer for your keys because you've run out of all the obvious stuff.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I've definitely done that.
Well, I'm just saying, you've looked at all the places they're supposed to be, and now you're kind of going crazy.
You're desperate at that point.
I think it's similar to what the Padres are probably thinking now. They've tried everything they can try. They probably tried extra hitting practice, no hitting practice, whatever, this, that, and the other. So
no doubt,
you start doing insanely dumb things, and unfortunately, that stolen base attempt kind of qualifies in that category. But I see what you're saying. I really do.
I also like it. Like Wembanyama made that bad turnover at the end, right at the end of that game,
right,
and immediately his next action was to foul somebody.
Yeah,
like he was. It's reactionary. Now in that case, it's you're reacting right after you made it. But this is like PTSD for these cats, right? They know, oh man, we're in scoring position. Here we go.
And you mentioned Ty France. He's the one guy that you feel like you've been able to count on. And of course, with 2 on and nobody out in the first inning last night, it's a hard ground ball, which is the easiest double play ever turned. So it is snowballed to, pretty extreme proportions here. But, I want to go back to what Craig Stammen said the other day. He said, what's happening right now is testing my faith in what I believed in is the way things are supposed to be done. And I think that's kind of what this is. You know what you're supposed to do. You know what you believe in to be successful. But when it's been this unsuccessful for so long, you start questioning it. Like, really? Maybe I was wrong. Like, maybe I'm not thinking the right way. I got to believe somebody even as great as Manny Machado at this point is starting to question himself up at the plate. And you would almost think that is impossible for that ever to happen based on, 17 years, 15 years, Tony, of sustained success. But if you're not, Manny Machado's still a person, and he's got to be going through everything right now.
We talked about it last week. Like, it's and this is why, it's to me, it's laughable that you would think that this guys don't care. There is nothing worse than walking into the box and not feeling like you have a chance. And I don't care who it is. Every player, the best of the best, have gotten to that box at one point and been doubting what they're doing, right? And I'm sure there are a few guys. I'm sure Manny's gotten to that point too. But I think your job is to keep at it and keep trying to figure it out. And it sucks in a real game when you're actually going through it in real time. But it's kind of how it has to go. And so, June, what's today? June 8th? Yeah, June 8th. It feels as dark as it could get. But, hopefully that's what we could come out to, that it comes out. These guys start getting back to where they are. The more as this is gone, I start thinking about what AJ's going to do. And it doesn't get past me that we could be in for a big shakeup at some point, just based on how this has gone. Because I know he's certainly not going to want it to get away to a point where you can't salvage it,
right?
And so I don't know. I just have I know nothing, but I just have a suspicion.
Well, I mean, I'll address the elephant in the room real quick. I mean, I don't know Steven Souza Jr. I don't know anything he's done with this team, but yes, I think, and maybe that there'll be more, but somebody's going to have to take a fall. I know you're talking trades and that.
Roster,
right?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think before you go roster, I think you have to change the message. Whether it's his fault, it's not his fault. Let's just be straight. It's not his fault. He's not the one in the batter's box. I'm sure he's giving them all the tools they need to be successful. He can't swing the bat for them. But unfortunately, I believe that there has to be a change of message or something needs to click. Because we said this throughout May. Okay, we'll wait till a little into June. All right, well, we're in a little into June. And you just mentioned it. How much longer before we're going to lose this season waiting around? We can't do that, I don't think.
No.
So
no, this is National League's not the American League.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to win some games, and maybe they go out today and they figure out their offense, and this is a moot point. But up to this point, it hadn't felt like that.
And is Lodolo's pitching, right? Oh, Abbott. I get those two lefties confused. But
I'd rather have Lodolo, basically.
Okay, so Abbott's the one that usually pitches well against the Padres. Oh, great.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I was worried about. All right. Well, things have gotten so crazy that, people are even looking for stats like this. So I'll throw it out there. But if the Padres team batting average finished right now where it is at 214, it would be the lowest average in the National League in 118 years. I'm just saying. That's how dire and crazy this has all gotten. Tony and I have a good show for you, though. Despite it all, we'll start getting into it and tell you what's ahead as Gwynn and Chris operates on a Monday from the Bill House studio where we know how on 97.3 The Fan.
Things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
.218 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby, not here. Adam Klug is, though, filling in on the ones and twos. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, waving. Padres, as Chris so succinctly put, 214 would be the lowest batting average in over 100 years in Major League Baseball. What was the exact number, Chris?
Yeah, it was 1908.
1908.
Yes, I was there. I remember this season well. The Brooklyn, I believe they were called the Brooklyn Spiders. They weren't even the Dodgers yet, I think they were called the Brooklyn Spiders. They hit. Yeah, but that's not even accurate. That's not even turning back time. This is going back to another millennium practically. But I think the Spiders hit 213 that year. Look, even the very first Padre team in 1969, the expansion Padres, who lost 110 games, hit 225. So, I mean, we're getting into historical territory. But before we go too much further down that road, because I'm sure we're going to get back down it again before the day is out, there is actually a decent amount of good news to this. And I mean, I'm serious. The fact is, they have not done so much damage to this season that it can't be salvaged.
No doubt.
So that, I think, is the thing. I know it's hard to do, and you're probably going to be out there going, "Oh, Chris, you're getting your money, from the Padre front office again." But I'm not. I'm just trying to say you have two choices. You can either jump on this sinking ship and have it go down with you, or you can, try to swim to freedom. And the good news is there's still a chance to do that, right? Because by all rights, with the way they've hit, they should probably have a record commensurate with the Rockies or something like that, but they don't, right? So there's still a way to salvage this if you can figure it out. And I think that's the one bright light, at least at this moment.
Yeah, no, without question. There's still a way to salvage this. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that they can do that. The question is, when will it start? Because there is a scenario in which it starts too late and you've lost too much time at that point.
Right.
And so I don't think we're anywhere near that yet. But, as you move into June, you have to start to kind of look at this a little bit differently. I'm always, me, I'm a third of the season type of dude before I'm like really dialed in on this. We are almost to that point, right? And as we get to it, you have to start to ask yourself, you don't have to ask yourself. I think you start to know, because I think most teams give it that period of time before they start to assess who they are, what they need in order to improve. And I think the answers are pretty loud right now in terms of what the Padres need. But it's a little more complicated than that, because they, as well as I think they've pitched under the circumstances, can you ride it out this long without, help in those areas? I don't know. I don't think you can. And I know you could get Pivetta back. Joe seems to have the most positive. I saw him throwing a baseball on the field for the first time in quite a while. So it seems like he's trending in the right direction. But I don't know that it's just going to be as cut and dry as a bat or two.
Tony, I want to ask you a question, because last time I was in, I asked you this, and you had a really interesting response, and it just so happens I'm in again today. But I asked you about the report a couple of weeks ago from Dennis Lin that the Padres were going to focus on bullpen, right, in terms of the trade deadline. And you said it made sense because I said, well, why not focus your resources on a hitter? And you said, because where are they going to put it? The hitters, kind of the fringier hitters, are actually performing. So where are you going to put? You're going to bench the stars. My question to you now is, do you still feel the same way? Have your thoughts changed after watching more of the offense in terms of going after bats at the deadline?
No. Yes, my thoughts have changed. I think we are at a different point in the season now where you've kind of let some of that play out to see if your big bats were going to get going. And although, Toddy has gotten going in ways other than power at this point, no one else has. And I think you can only go so long before you probably have to address that. And so I think I think last time you were on, it might have been early May, last time you were on. So we hadn't gotten to a point of the season yet where, you still had time to kind of let that play out. Now I think you kind of know. And listen, what we typically do when we start talking about additions, we tend to focus on one area. And every time it seems like AJ goes not only in that area, but multiple areas, it feels like. And so I just start to believe that is the same thing we're going to be looking at here in 2026, is that he ends up addressing multiple areas. And here's the thing to think about, and this is where ownership comes into play. If indeed the ownership is willing to add, you know what you don't have to do is give up prospects, because, and I think you guys got to think bigger than what you normally think. Some of the big pieces out there have big contracts, and they won't require you to have to give up a whole lot of prospects, because
teams will be looking to get rid of them, you say, as long as you're willing to take on salary.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think that's a position in which the Padres, if new ownership coming in, is willing to go there, that's where they'll have the biggest advantage, because he'll have some prospects to move if he needs to, but he also will be able to absorb. And not everybody and not every team in these sweepstakes are going to be willing to absorb, the way the Padres possibly could.
Yeah, because I would think the hardest thing to make a trade right now is that your own capital is not all that enticing, right? Like, you don't have anybody on your team that's doing well enough to where you can say, hey, I'll give you this guy. Like, everybody's kind of struggling. So, maybe the money angle is the way to go. You sit here and say, hey, I'll take on payroll and I'll give you pieces that are not payroll. And you kind of work it that way. But I also going to say what you mentioned earlier in the month is still true. I don't think they're trading for a new third baseman. I don't think they're trading for a new right fielder, right? No. They're not trading for a new shortstop, unless I guess they wanted to do that and, try to get Bogey back over to second. But they're not taking him out, is my point. They're not taking Jackson Merrill out. So there's at least 4 spots that I see that are not something you're going to address, which means, you're going to have to get a catcher, or you're going to have to, platoon or bench Sheets and Duhar. You're going to basically ask Cronenworth not to get back. Those are the areas where I think you're going to have to try to improve, because I don't think you're going to do it at those established spots.
Well, the beauty of Toddy's flexibility defensively is it gives you more ways to kind of distribute whoever you want. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not I wouldn't be surprised if something happens. It's not a subtraction from the roster, from the current roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily know that will be the way that it ends up going down. We'll see. We don't know. We are all speculating right now, but I do think the way things have gone, that I wouldn't be surprised if it's a multi-pronged type deal where it's, multiple areas addressed.
Well, Craig Stammen has been, answering all the questions, and I got to believe he's probably had it up to here with all of that. But we do have some of his comments.
I think that's so insightful, him talking about, like, when you're in the middle of this, you start to question your own thoughts on how things are supposed to go.
That's all you can do.
Such a normal human response right there.
It's really true, right? I mean, you believe certain things that have helped you get to the point that he's at, and now none of them are working. So you have to, what am I doing?
Right.
All right. Well, we got some Stammen stuff we can play. I also want to ask you, Manny said something Friday night about the analytics and all of that. Maybe play that, Tony. Just get your thoughts on whether there could be more to it or not. I'm gonna look. We're all desperate to figure this out. So,
fair enough. We'll get to it on the other side. More Gwynn Chris.
All right, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. One thing you can be happy about if you're on your way to the game tonight at Petco Park, be a lot easier to get in the building than it will be for the Knicks fans to get into Madison Square Garden tonight for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. That is kind of the center of the sporting universe. Certainly on this Monday, Tony and I'll talk some NBA a little bit later on. We also, the College World Series set today. Oklahoma and Alabama clinched the final 2 spots. We can get into that a little bit. But
not going to congratulate my Georgia Bulldogs?
Oh, forget it. Yeah, I forgot. I wouldn't have mentioned it if I had remembered that Georgia's in. And then there's I would have. And then there's one really annoying story in football, college football. But if you hadn't heard, the Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby, who was basically told he couldn't play this year because he admitted to gambling on football games, including those in which his own team played. He found somebody, or his lawyers did, a judge in Texas, to give him a temporary injunction against the NCAA that looks like it's going to clear the way for him to play for Texas Tech this year. And college sports is not going to be better for this decision. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But we have bigger fish to fry, which is right now the Padres. I've been saying for a long time, Tony, I don't know if you heard, but I've been saying this offense will only go as far as Freddie Fermin will take them. And
you were right.
Yeah, right. Freddie snapped out of it.
Pitch on the way, and Fermin launches it deep to left field. Soto's back at the wall. This one gonna go. Oh, Freddie Fermin! Oh, for his last 30. A 2-run go-ahead homer in the bottom of the 7th inning, and that is a best-case scenario.
I have more respect for Jesse Agler than any broadcaster I know, Tony. And I also know that he's more prepared than any broadcaster I know. You've detailed how much work he puts into each and every broadcast.
Nobody more prepared than that, brother. Right?
But there was no way he was prepared for that home run. Right? There's nobody was.
It didn't sound like he was pretty prepared.
Yeah, well, you're right. His call was pretty good, but I'm just saying that shocked everybody. And thank goodness it happened. The Padres only had 4 extra base hits this weekend, and Fermin had 3 of them. So, how many different ways can we say the Padres offense is struggling? Unfortunately, we can think of many different ways. Craig Stammen, and, his job, part of his job is every single day to sit down with us and the media and probably handle pretty much the same questions he's been getting all year. But one thing, does he have Tatis and the overall hitting? Let's talk about the hitting first, Adam. What Stammen's take is on, where they are offensively.
Craig, teams go as their superstars go. How do you comprehend? What do you make of what your big 4 have produced so far to today?
Yeah, they're just struggling, and, thankfully it's still June and we got a lot of season left. And I think, when you're a superstar, it means you've been very consistent over the course of your career. And it's always a shock when you're not as consistent as you've always been, for them personally and for everybody that expects a lot out of them. But I know they expect more out of it than anybody else. They're the ones, trying their hardest, and they're, hanging their heads right now. But we got to lift them up and know that better days are ahead.
Where are you guys at in your search for answers for them, given that it is 2 months into the season?
Well, we haven't found them yet. That's where the search is, and we're going to keep looking for it. The good thing is we have very talented players that we're working with and that they can make adjustments. They're elite at adjustment. We're just in search of that, that answer that you said that we're looking for. I think the answer is we got great players and they're just going to be just fine.
Craig Stammen is doing a hell of a job under these circumstances. And, even jokingly saying, yeah, well, we haven't found it yet. The thing that I'm going to go back to, Tony, and this is why I keep, I sound like I'm beating the drum to fire the hitting coach today, and that is going to change everything. That is not what I'm beating the drum for. I don't think the hitting coach necessarily is doing anything wrong. But the problem is, if it was just Machado, you say, okay, Manny's in a thing. If it was just Fernando, who's got 1 home run and all these at-bats and stuff, you'd say, okay. But a Merrill, who's dropped off significantly, or just Bogarts, or just, this guy or that guy. The problem is it's pretty much, as you said earlier, team-wide. So I don't think I can – I have to – blame is the wrong word, but I have to do something somewhere because I can't keep heading down this path. And that is why I'm bringing this up. People are saying, give me a solution. I don't have the solution, but I think that might be a solution. And Bob Nightingale tweeted out today, somebody's going to pay for it with their job. It very well may turn out that way. It could. I'm not saying it will, but they've got to get it turned, or, who else are you going to do? You're going to put Manny and Fernando in the street and DFA them. So
no, you're probably not doing that.
No. And that's why I feel for, Souza right now, because he's the guy that's going to take the bullet for all of this happening. At least it would appear that way if somebody has to take one.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that hitting coaches are usually the ones that are the sacrificial lamb in a lot of this stuff. And I don't know that it happens very often mid-year, 3 months into a tenure. So I don't know what that is. I just know that the guys who are being asked to perform are not performing up to the level that they normally do, and that usually someone is a scapegoat for that. However you want to couch it, and so I don't know what way the Padres are thinking at this point. I think if they go out today and they get about 8 hits, we're not going to be talking about the same thing tomorrow. And they get a win. Even if they don't get a win, if they go out and they get 8 hits,
really, we'll take that right now.
I'm just saying we won't be talking about it in the same. Like tomorrow, the story won't be, man, this offense it can't get hits. You know what I'm saying? You go out and you get 8, especially against a dude who has shoved it down their throat every single time he stepped on the mound, specifically against the Padres. I think. We'll have a different conversation for sure.
Manny Machado is certainly at the heart of a lot of this. He is somebody that I would say in general is beloved here by just about every Padre fan, most everybody in the media. And I don't think anybody's going to abandon Manny right now. But there's no getting over the fact that a 169 average is just hard to comprehend for a man of his talent. A 596 OPS. I mean, this is an OPS that is reserved seriously for 8th place hitters that, basically just fill in a batting order, not a guy that's going to go to the Hall of Fame probably someday. So he's being asked it. He's trying to figure it out. But he had something interesting, I thought, to say on Friday before the game against the series starting against the Mets. And he was talking about all this analytics stuff and getting your head full of all these numbers. Here's what Manny said about that. I'm just want to play it and give you guys a chance to listen to it.
Yeah, the game's evolving, man. I mean, it's definitely getting harder to play. It's definitely getting more strategic. I just wish we can get the analytics out the way. I think there's too many stats out there. Too many stats. Way too many numbers. I don't even know half of the stuff that goes up there. I look at the board sometimes and I'm like, man, I even asked some of the guys, like, what is WCCVBB, whatever it is? Like what are these names that are being created? I mean, it's just crazy to even keep up with.
Weighted expected on base percentage?
Is it? Is that what it is? Yeah, what is that? Yeah, it's crazy, dude. I mean, the pitching stuff, like FIP or something like that, I think, right?
Fielding independent pitching.
Yeah, like what is that?
That's taking out the defense to say this guy.
All right, so why would you have that stat? Isn't baseball
how much of a stud guy really is?
Yeah, but it takes a team to win a ball game, and not just one person. Yeah, one person could be that guy, right? So one person could carry a team, but this is a team sport. You don't win a championship by just one player. It takes a whole goddamn village to do it. So why are we creating these stats for? I think that's the problem with baseball right now.
Manny Machado preaching to my choir with those comments, right, Tony? Because you know me, the analytics drive me a little crazy. I do think you can glean some information. There's no argument there, but
for sure
you can only glean so much, and that's what Manny's saying. But here's why I brought it up. Could this be a thinly veiled shot at, his own organization, trying to get him to focus too much on analytics?
No, because the organization, they can't make Manny Machado focus on analytics. Like that's crazy talk.
Okay.
I often look up at the board and I wonder how many people in the stadium actually know what they're looking at. Right. I mean, you got WRC plus up there. You got batted balls in play. Like, I'm pretty sure 90% of the people who look up at the board don't know what any of that means. And so, that's aside from the point. But I was just having this conversation with my partner here, my other partner, Jesse. And we're, some of the numbers, and this is where I bristle at some of it. Take Jason Adams, for example. All of his metrics are down, right? He's not spinning it nearly the same way he has. And quite frankly, it's been going down since 2024, right? With the exception of his changeup. Seems like that's kind of the same as it was last year.
We're talking Jason Adam here, yes?
We're talking Jason Adam.
Right.
But when he's on the field, the end result is what you're searching for. He still is one of our best bullpen guys coming out of the bullpen. His numbers in terms of getting outs, what he's allowed coming in, he's given up a couple homers this year. I mean, he's not immune to the numbers. And so how do you treat that? The numbers since 2024 say that he's declining in terms of spin and his effectiveness, but his effectiveness in getting outs has still been the same.
Yeah, the eighth inning ends and the other team hasn't scored most of the time.
Right. The ball is hit a little bit harder, but at the end of the day, if everybody had the same stuff year in, year out, no changes, everybody would be good. But clearly that's not the case all the time. And the fact that he doesn't have the same type of spin and he's still finding ways to get outs. And we're in June. And that's not, remember, he's coming off injury. That's not to say that he won't improve on those numbers as the year goes along. But ultimately, I want the outs. I want you being able to come in and get the outs. If your spin is not spinning the way it has been the past couple years, we'll keep. The beauty about pitching is you can identify that and go work on trying to, regain that maybe. But ultimately, when you put him out there, he's getting the outs more than everybody else is most of the time, maybe outside of Mason Miller. And you just have to live with that in 2026. It may be completely different next year, but at least for the last 2 years, it's been trending the same way, but you're still getting the same production from Jason.
Tony.
And so I think that's kind of what Manny is getting at a little bit in his own way. It's like, and listen, I think some of that is just frustration for Manny. He's struggling. He's looking up at those boards, and and I believe him. Like I believe that he probably has.
Yes, right. His head's spinning for sure.
Yeah. And so I just think that's where it becomes, I think, complicated for fans, right? And trying to dissect what's important, what's not. I know they hear about what's important, but they don't necessarily know how to apply that and what it means. And so, I just think ultimately when you're losing games, there's these type of questions, these type of frustrations start to pop up often.
No doubt. You know what? If you don't mind, Tony, could you go back in time with me for about 35 years and be my coach at San Diego State? Because I got people out, but they didn't like how I did it. So I didn't get to pitch that much. See, that's what I used to say. Don't rate how fast my fastball is. Just ask me at the end, did I get the people out? But that isn't really how it works anymore, and we know this, right?
Isn't Randy Vasquez a great example of that last year too?
What do you mean?
Randy Vasquez wasn't striking, didn't have a lot of swing and miss, but there's a lot of base traffic. But at the end of the day, he was getting out of the jams, and his ERA at the end of the day was great. He was winning ball games.
Yeah, but they didn't trust him,
right?
Because he didn't have the stuff that they were looking for. That's it. And I think that's what Tony's saying. So.
And that's a feeling That's because your eyes, and even in his case, the evidence will say, man, he ain't really striking anybody out.
Yeah.
He ain't really.
There's no way this is going to continue.
Can we let him go this extra inning, man? How long is he going to be able to walk this tightrope? You know what I'm saying? And so, I think that is where it becomes. I think that is what the good managers get paid for, right? Is they got to figure out, man, I know what I'm watching. I know what the numbers are telling me. Can he get through this? Can he not get through this? And I think that's the hard, really, really hard part for managers, coaches in general.
Yeah, and I mean, this franchise still is the poster boy for pitching, where speed of your fastball didn't matter too much. I mean, number 35 is retired out there. As you walk into Petco Park, Randy Jones had many games, and he would point it out to you. You can look him up on the Baseball Reference and laugh. He had games, Tony, where he had 10 innings pitched, because they let guys pitch longer then, but he had 10 innings pitched, no walks and no strikeouts, but didn't give up any runs. And that was his point. And listen, he got him out.
There may not be Randy Joneses in the league anymore.
Yeah.
But there are certainly dudes who don't light up the gun. 94 is probably what, 88, 90 used to be. But they can still get outs because they know how to pitch, right? In that case. I look at a guy like Jason Adam, and despite his declining kind of spin rates and things of that nature, the man knows how to get guys out. He knows how to set you up. He can throw all three of his pitches for strikes anytime he wants to. And yeah, they may not have the zip, may not be breaking as much, but when you have the ability to throw the ball where you want, anytime you want, it lessens the need to have good velocity or good spin. Of course, those things make it harder, but hitting was already hard in those same eras you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's just gotten harder a little bit, I think, because of the velocities and spin now.
Padres, nonetheless, are going to field a lineup tonight against the Reds.
Real quick.
So we have that. We'll pass along to you soon. Go ahead.
Hold on real quick. Jesse wants to hop on.
Yes.
I think there is a tension. I was talking about this with my buddy the other day. There's a tension in baseball we have to come to grips with when we talk about all this. There are front office conversations and there are game conversations. And I think all this stuff about the analytics and, okay, look at the numbers are dropping and yada, yada, that is a reasonable front office conversation. So if you're talking about, putting the future together and talking about things that might concern you down the line, okay, yeah, let's talk about that kind of stuff. But like Tony was saying, if you're worried about winning the game tonight, and the Padres are a team that's trying to win games tonight because they're trying to win a World Series, let's not talk about that. Let's not worry about that.
That's a great way to put it.
Let's let the manager conversation, the tonight conversation, is separate than the front office conversation. And we have to remember that, I think, as fans, that sometimes it's a GM conversation, let's call it. Sometimes it's a manager conversation.
Right.
And those are very different things. And so okay, a guy's spin rate might be down. That's something for the GM to worry about. That's not something for the manager to worry about in the eighth inning tonight, because the guy's been good. He can get guys out. And I think we have to remember that when we're talking about games, that, sometimes you can wear your Preller hat if you're talking about next year, but sometimes you got to wear your Stammen hat when you're talking about the game tonight.
That's excellent. And listen, that's the reason why that's excellent is because as we're talking about some of the different, metrics and things of that nature, you can still get outs with that. But maybe, if we get to August and there's been he's been getting hit a little bit, you can now point back to this and be like, all right, well, we have an idea on how to possibly fix this. But to be concerned about it right now doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because at this point, he's still doing his job, getting outs, being that eighth inning guy that you need. And so I think Jesse put that perfectly. We often get caught up with the analytics because that is how GMs, owners, but they aren't in the real time making decision business as the manager is.
Well, and absolutely. And thank you, Jesse. Jesse's always welcome for pop-ins on the program. But, that's going back a little bit to what Manny kind of said in his thing. And that is, tell me the last time some analytic that's up on a scoreboard helped a team win a game. And that's his point. Like, we all need to come together, find a way to win the game. Those numbers can all be out there well and good, but
I think Stam also said it the other day. Players shouldn't worry about that. Of course, managers, coach, they're going to evaluate on it, but that's not what your worry should be when players should think these statistics are dumb because it's not helping them win right now. Now, they get to the offseason, they can maybe point to something they can improve their game on. Great. But, I think you got to live in the what's happening now frame of mind.
Well, unfortunately, we know what's happening right now, and we're not in love with it. We'll see if hour number 2 we can perk things up a little bit. Also, we have some Padre tickets to give away. You may be down on the team, but I know you want to see them play for free. We'll tell you about that in hour number 2. All right, so here's what happened. I was at the corner, and I'm going to call out the streets because who cares? It was Claremont Mesa Drive and Ruffin Road, which is pretty close to our radio station here.
Yeah.
I had to run over and pick up a little cash from the bank. That was simple, trip before I came into work. And I'm on Ruffin Road, coming up to Claremont Mesa Boulevard.
Ruffin Road can be a little rough sometimes.
They could pave that. It wouldn't hurt. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. They can't call it paved road. I know that.
Wait, your issue isn't the potholes in the road?
That was I'm used to that. So we come up on Claremont Mesa, and we're at the stoplight. I'm in the left-hand turn lane to turn left on Claremont Mesa. I'm the third car back. And there's 2 left turn lanes. There's 3 cars in line here. And then the going straight is also red. And that is backed up each of the lanes. So that I've got cars on my right. I've got cars on my left. I got 2 in front of me. I got people behind me. No big deal. Light cycles through. And our turn doesn't come.
Oh, no.
So the cross traffic gets to go again. And then the people coming across in our direction, they get to go again. And then for a second time, they skip our turn. Well, that's what I thought. So now...
Actually, you're not going anywhere. You're stuck.
Right, you're stuck.
You're not going anywhere.
And my first thought, of course, as a good scout or, athlete, is to look around. Is there any way out? Can I back up? Can I, I'll do anything. But there is nowhere for me to go.
No.
It happens a third time.
Whoa.
And I'm pretty clear at this point, this light's broken. And I'm starting to think, how are we going to get out of this? Am I going to have to call, the police to come and fix it? No one's going to know it's broken.
911 emergency response.
Yeah.
Emergency. Ruffin Road in Claremont. The light is stuck.
The light is stuck. And so this is 5 minutes probably, but you can imagine 5 minutes.
No,
that's a long
That's a
time,
long
right?
time.
Well, when it comes to the 4th time, I finally start just leaning on my horn.
Oh.
I'm trying to get...
What are the people in front of you going to do?
Well, because there was a moment, right, after the traffic comes this way, it paused.
You want them to run the light.
You could at least a couple people could run the light. We could get this going here.
You want them to run the light.
I did.
Break the law.
Well, they had to. Otherwise, we'd still be there. Anyway, so this is going on. So I'm starting leaning on my horn. The lady next to me looks at me like, what the hell are you doing?
Good for her. Good for her.
And good for her.
Kidding.
I'm like, ma'am,
kidding.
are you just clueless? Were you going to sit here the rest of your life?
She has faith that the light's going to turn eventually.
Evidently so. If it had gone again, the guy next to me on this side rolled down his passenger window. That starts to go down. I think he's going to be mad. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure the light's broken. Like, how do you not know this? We've all been sitting here for 6-7 minutes now. The 2 cars at the very front of the left turn lane are not budging. So they apparently are content to sit there for as long as it need be.
They also have faith that the light is going to turn.
But I have no faith.
What gives them that faith?
Yeah, but what gave them the faith? I mean, it had cycled through 4 times now. The 5th time, I was going to just have to get out of my car and walk up to that and go, will you please do something? Or get, and if you don't, and I would have,
something.
You know what I would have said? If you don't want to run the light, just get out of my way so I can run the light. I'm not sitting here the rest of the day. And finally, on the fifth time, the first two people ran the light, and the next person was able to get half. You know what I mean? And after a couple more cycles through, I got out of there. But I don't know
if the light ever start working.
I don't know if you're at Claremont Mason Ruffin Road, you might still be there. I don't know. This was 45 minutes ago or so.
Wow.
So my question to you is, how differently would you have handled this than I did? And I'll start with you, Tony. Would there have been any difference, or do you know?
I don't know if I would have laid on my horn.
You would have just never laid on it.
I think I might have maybe rolled down the window, see if I could talk to somebody, see what else.
See if anybody else was in on it?
I don't think I would have laid on my horn because, listen, what you're asking is for them to, which may not be easy for everybody, and that is the timing between when because they're waiting for their light to turn.
Yes,
right?
they were waiting for
the light's not going to turn. But that also then requires them to guess the exact kind of when the timing of when they can.
Hour number 2, Gwynn and Chris, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Sello, Adam Klug on the ones and twos. A good conversation about analytics. Another great point my partner just came up with. You know what we do as fans now that I don't know that we didn't. Chris, you probably could speak to this more. You've been around a little longer than I have. But I feel like the baseball fan now certainly views this from a GM, views everything from a GM standpoint versus a fan standpoint, right? And as Jesse made the point, it's okay to do that when your team sucks, right? Because now you're building for the future. You want your picks, all that kind of stuff. But when you're a team like the Padres are, where you're trying to win now, I don't know that it's the most enjoyable way to watch a baseball game is from that standpoint. You shouldn't even be caring about what Manny Machado's contract is 6 years from now. The point is right now. This is where you need him to be good now. 6 years, who cares at this point? The window is now.
Unfortunately, we as fans demand more information over time, and now we have it at our disposal.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yep.
So we run around thinking we know how to run the organization. And, we don't at all. Growing up, I just knew the baseball players made some money, didn't really care how much, and just cheered for the guys that were on my team for as long as they were on my team. I still try to do that. But I agree with you, Tony. The most of the hate that Xander Bogaerts has received since he's been here, maybe hate's too strong a word, but most of the criticism levied against Xander Bogaerts, despite the fact his numbers aren't the same as they were with the Red Sox, still have not been aimed at his production. They've been aimed at how much his contract was. And to me, as a fan, that's neither here nor there. The ownership gave him that money, and now I know some fans are going to say, well, I pay for his ticket. I don't really think you do anymore. I really don't. I know you're paying, a little bit more than you want to for that box seat, but that $80 tab or $120, that's not going to Xander Bogaerts now. I mean, they're getting it all everywhere else, TV money and rights fees and the clothing deals and all of the jerseys. If you buy Xander Bogaerts' jersey, maybe you're paying part of his contract. So I don't know. Fans should. You're right. Don't worry about it. Come root for your team, man. That's what your job should be. But that's long past, right? That's long past.
Yeah, no, certainly feels like it.
Yeah.
Are we doing Daily Gambit here?
Well, I don't know. I thought we'd hold off on it a little bit, but no, you know what? Let's just do it. Yeah, sorry, Adam. We're calling an Omaha here. Let's get into the game. Some of the stuff, some of the games coming up over the weekend stuff. Yeah, we can do that. I like it.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Scraby likes to say it's our daily sports betting segment, but I don't really know about that. It's really more of a segment just to talk about some of the wins and losses over the weekend and what's coming up on the schedule tonight. And we already know that the Padres had a rough weekend against the Mets. Friday, we took a look at the over-under, which was 7 runs. I believe that was the final score of that game, 3-0. So they didn't make it. Sasaki went over the number of innings he was supposed to pitch. He started to pitch a little better for the Dodgers, which I'm not pleased about, Tony.
No, me neither.
Right? You know, and I mean, it is one of the things that's happened during this Padre slump, whatever we want to call it, is that we've almost stopped hating the Dodgers a little bit, right? Because they're not even on ourselves. They're not on our radar anymore. Yeah, they're out in their own thing, and unfortunately, folks, they're 7.5, 8 games clear at the moment. Manny and Tatis, we had an over/under on 1.5 hits. The team only got 3 hits Friday night, so they didn't make that. We both picked the Knicks plus 6.5 against the Spurs Friday night. That was a correct pick. 217 points. The game went under. And we did a little of the French Open. The young lady Chwalinska, who was totally unseeded, a qualifier, actually into the main draw, reached the finals. But she did fall eventually to Amira Andreeva, 6-3, 6-2. And then Sunday, Zverev, the Russian, won his first Grand Slam title on the men's side, in part because Alcaraz was not in the tournament and Sinner got knocked out early.
I got to say, real quick on the coverage French Open, I enjoyed the few times I got to listen to Andre Agassi as one of the...
he's a good commentator, right?
And he was really good to me.
Yeah. He tells it like it is, which is what we want to hear, right? He's a bit of a, John Madden tennis type.
Yeah, for sure.
And he had some very pointed things to say. I don't know if you saw Tony, but I don't remember the player's name, but he
came off the court early, or
he didn't show up. No, he said he couldn't play the semifinals. He got all the way to the semifinals.
Yeah,
and felt he was sick the night before and couldn't play. And Agassi said, I'm 56 years old. I would have beaten him today and advanced. I mean, get your butt out there. I don't blame Agassi for saying that.
He felt like it was some conditioning thing prior. He was like,
that's part of it, right?
He said he was struggling to get the match before to get through it, and it was a little bit shorter time period. So
that's a good point, too. Yeah, you have to prepare for a 2-week haul when you're in those tournaments. And Agassi, I don't mind the old man on the lawn comment about some of these guys. I can't imagine qualifying for a semifinal of a Grand Slam and not be able to step a foot on the court.
Without a doubt.
To me, I'd at least go out there. Now, if I lost, like if the first 3 games, right, the guy was just blowing me away, I couldn't touch any ball. Okay, then I go shake the umpire's hand and say, clearly I can't do it. But to me, at least you got to give the effort. That's my thinking. All right, tonight the Padres are favored over the Reds by 1.5 runs. Walker Buehler against the aforementioned Andrew Abbott. I think you have to try and the Reds are not playing great, but we don't even care.
4 straight.
Yeah,
coming in tonight.
We don't even care about the Reds or anybody, right? We could be playing Georgia Tech tonight. It wouldn't matter. We just want to see somebody get some hits and score some runs. So, I'll take the Padres. What the hell?
I mean, I'm taking them too.
We got to stick with them. It's got to end at some point. Over under is 8 runs. I will tell you, Tony, I'm not that convinced on the Padres. I have to say under until I start seeing some runs go on the board.
8 runs, yeah. I'm
total
going under.
8 runs. Hopefully the Padres win, but 5-2.
I'll take a 4-3. Honestly.
Yeah, well, you may have to take a 4-3. I know AJ Casavel pointed out today that the Padres have only scored 5 runs or more once in their last 14 games.
Not to mention, Abbott has an ERA under 1
against the Padres. Yeah, so that's not boding too well. Christopher Sanchez is on the mound tonight for the Phillies.
Not here, thank God.
Yeah, Padres, of course. We had no trouble ending his streak there. Yeah, we scratched out 1 run against him. He's over under 7.5 strikeouts tonight at Toronto. I can't believe Patrick Corbin is still starting in Major League Baseball. I mean, I'm not trying to pick on the guy, but he's had an ERA like over 5 or 6 for like 5 straight years running. And yet, I guess they still give him a opportunity.
Innings eater.
Is that, yeah. If you don't mind giving up runs. But, yeah, I guess they want the innings. Christopher Sanchez, see how he recovers from his poor outing against the Padres in which he allowed 1 run. I think he'll go over the strikeout, 7.5.
I'll go over as well.
Why not? All right, Knickerbockers and Spurs, Game 3 at New York. Adam just showed me a photo that was taken out.
Yeah, I just saw it. Yeah.
Did he send it to you?
The media line is crazy.
Just for the media line, it's taking like 3 or 4 hours to get into Madison Square Garden. I honestly don't know if there'll be any fans in the building at all for the opening tip-off. Like, how are people getting in? And, man, what a mess that is.
Did you just lose that?
Uh-oh. What happened?
Dave Marcus I thought he was spitting on me for a second, but it was a staple that came flying out of his stapler over here. Don't stick my eye out. Sorry.
Are you going to have to start doing the show wearing rec specs, Tony? To protect yourself from Dave on Dave.
This dude is always throwing stuff. Today it was staple. Sometimes it's food that he misses the trash can. It splashes all over the place.
Man, Dave, what are we going to do with
Dave? Can be. He's sometimes you got to babysit Dave sometimes.
All right. So what do you think is going to happen tonight, Tony? Knicks are favored by 1.5. Over the Spurs.
You know what? Give me the Spurs.
Really? You say they're going to pull it off?
Walking into there's just too many distractions. They got so much happening there. I don't even know if the real Knicks fans are going to actually be in the building tonight.
I don't think any of them will be. I mean, the longtime Knicks fans, there's no way they can afford to get in. I mean, other than Ben Stiller, and I think the Knicks are going to win. I think the Knicks are going to
win.
Yeah, I think they're maybe
3-0.
I do.
It's a wrap if they get to 3-0.
I know, of course it is. We'll talk more about it. You and I have a basketball segment coming up, but this series has opened my eyes to the Knickerbockers. 216 points is the over-under tonight, Tony. I'll let you go first on that. 216. The last game was 209. So I don't think they've made 216 yet in the first 2 games. What do you think? Over, under?
I said under.
Under again? I don't disagree. The Knicks, that's too high of a scoring game for an NBA Finals. All right, what about Wemby tonight? He's taking a lot of criticism for that turnover and foul at the end of the game. And all of a sudden, Tony, and this is how we work as a society, right? All of a sudden, a guy that was so clutch that he and his teammates eliminated and embarrassed the defending champion team a week ago, all of a sudden, Wembanyama is a choker who cannot perform on the biggest stage.
This dude was the greatest thing that ever happened to basketball 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now he can't play.
He's is
a choke artist.
Carl Anthony Towns is wiping his shoes with Wemby here. Yeah. So 28 points tonight. Do you think Wemby beats that tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to think he's going to need 28 at least to get this dub.
Over. I think he's going to try a lot to get over also. But I go to the church of Jalen Brunson. I do. This guy continues
to
get
to believe
it
in Jalen Brunson right now.
He is really something. And I said it last week, Tony. I think, Becky Hammond can take some of the credit for saying he couldn't win, but this guy has a chip on his shoulder, and it's
No
big,
doubt.
and he brings it with him every single night. So, all right, I think that's good. We'll just we'll focus on those two games tonight. The Knicks and Spurs start at about 5:30, as long as they can get the.
Will that one actually be on regular TV today? We couldn't watch it the other day because DirecTV is in a bidding fight with ABC.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Is it
it's on ABC.
So
Yeah,
we couldn't
you're not
watch the game here at the stadium.
You're not watching it again tonight.
That's awesome.
Sorry to say. Well, actually, I'm sure you are cagey enough, Tony, to go to your ESPN app. I'm sure you could probably watch it on your phone. So
it would be nice to have it on the TV. So I don't have to use my iPad that I'm actually using for work. But I'll figure out a way to get it in that little screen so I can flick it over.
Tony, what's Manny's BAPIP? I don't know, but the Knicks are up 6, Jesse. So let's go back to the broadcast. Watching the game over here.
Let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Chris, hello. Yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers, great shortstop. Jack Morris in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching performance of all time. Chipper Jones, Padre fans remember him. Every fan of a National League team remembers him because he would come in and do damage to that team. Only the second #1 overall pick in the Major League Draft, Chipper Jones, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. The other is Ken Griffey Jr. Vladimir Guerrero. Never met a pitch he couldn't swing at. And powerhouse hitter for the Expos and then, of course, the Angels at the end of his career. Jim Thome, over 600 home runs, mostly with the Cleveland Indians. And then, the guy down here on the end who used to get all these guys out all the time, Trevor Hoffman, the greatest Padre reliever of them all. Two of the greatest outfielders in the history of baseball. Of course, you've got Babe Ruth right here. Ted Williams right over there. I was wondering who the third outfielder would be. And then, of course, it hit me. Tony would be upset if I didn't say that the third outfielder, who will someday probably be displayed right here between these two guys, is obviously Mike Trout. And this is the San Diego Padres locker room here in Cooperstown. Obviously, a couple of jerseys there and hats, gloves, all-star stuff. I think the most interesting thing in this entire display, though, especially this weekend, is a picture in the top corner of Angus Young. He's the guitarist for AC/DC, wearing a Trevor Hoffman uniform, obviously playing Hell's Bells. I know that Trevor went to many AC/DC concerts and was honored by sitting in the front row to watch AC/DC play Hell's Bells in his honor. But there's a picture of Angus Young playing Hell's Bells for Trevor Hoffman, wearing the 51 jersey right there. Crisello, yeah, we're here in Cooperstown for 97.3 The Fan. So excited, the induction weekend for the great Trevor Hoffman. What a class he's going in with, too. Let's take a look. Of course, Alan Trammell from Kearney High School in San Diego. And then, of course, the Detroit Tigers, great shortstop. Jack Morris in a Tiger uniform there, but I always remember him pitching that 1-0 shutout in Game 7 of the 1991 World Series for the Minnesota Twins. Maybe the greatest postseason pitching. Gwynn and Chris, Tony running out, taking care of a couple things. He'll be right back with us for our segment here at the bottom of the hour. We're going to get into this mess that is Madison Square Garden right now. They're saying 3 or 4 hours just to try to get into the building, and that's for the media. So the fans may not be there till the game is over, some of them. I don't know. You know, obviously there is so much security with the president attending the game tonight. And, hey, this is a big deal. I get it. So I wouldn't go to it, but I get it. Some people just have to be where all the action is. Not me. Adam Klug would sell his tickets, he says. You should be so
lucky.
lucky.
For that much money?
For that much money?
Tens of thousands of dollars?
Nah, no kidding, man. What did they say? There was an auction for a courtside seat, $1 million for a game.
No chance. There's no
crazy.
There's
right?
no sporting event involving any team that I would pay that much money to see.
I'll be honest with you. As crazy as that, it seems also a little crazy when you think about it. When you think it through, the Knicks win tonight. They do not win anything, right? They take a 3-0 lead. They're probably going to win. But if you were going to pay something as a Knick fan to be part of something memorable, historical, that hasn't happened in 50 years, wouldn't you want to go to the clinching game?
Have you ever been to an event in person to see your team win a championship?
Well, none of my teams have ever won a championship.
No.
Yes, I actually have. I'm old enough to have been at the Super Bowl at the LA Coliseum the year the Dolphins completed their perfect season. A long time ago, Adam Klug. I was there.
I was in the building for Game 5 of the 2021 World Series in Atlanta. It was a home clincher for the Braves. Adam Duvall hit a grand slam in the first inning to go up 4-0.
Right.
And I thought I was going to see a clincher, and they blew the lead. And
they didn't win. They ended up going back to Houston
Correct,
to win
and
it.
they won the next game.
So you didn't get to see it.
But I was in the building to see Georgia beat Braden's TCU Horned Frogs for the national title.
That hardly counted. The score was 73-2. That hardly counted.
Yeah, it was over before it
That
started.
was at SoFi, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't know
So I was
that.
up there for that.
All right. Well, if I was a Knick fan and I was really going to lay all my money out, that would be the one. I'd say, okay, I want to be at the clinching game. I want to see the Knicks win a championship in my lifetime. Tonight, they cannot.
So then you'd have to wait until after the outcome of Game 3 to know if it's even a game.
Even if there's a chance in Game 4.
And then the price goes way up, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, it's a mess at Madison Square Garden. Darren is on the phone. He had a pretty good question. So we don't bring a lot of callers on, but hey, we're out of ways to describe the Padre mess. What do you have, Darren?
Yeah, how's it going, guys? I was going to ask Tony a question, but since he's not there, I'll ask you guys and see if you know the answer.
Sure.
But when his dad, had his illustrious career, and I'm sure he had 1 or 2 slumps in his career.
Yeah.
How did he handle slumps? What did he change? What did he do to get out of a slump? And then my second question is if he were around today and were perhaps the hitting coach of the Padres, what advice would he give Manny and the others to help them get out of this slump?
I think I can give you a pretty good answer because I've been around Tony's dad so much, and I've heard Tony speak of these things. So I'll tell you what I think he would say. First of all, I think when Tony Gwynn himself was in a slump, what he used to, he'd go look at his film, but I think he was doing that anyway. His main thing was to go back to square one and go back to the basics and believe in what his process was and understand that if he did what he was supposed to do, the results would follow. And I don't think Tony Gwynn Sr. ever got a whole lot more beyond that before he got out of a slump. So having said what I just said, I don't know how much that applies to Manny now because Manny's got to be beyond that. Manny is hitting 116 in the last 31 games. That's almost impossible for any major leaguer to hit that low of an average for that long, let alone somebody like Manny Machado. But I got to believe that the only thing you could tell Manny is the same thing he's telling himself, which is A, see the ball, hit the ball. And he mentioned that talking Friday about all the analytics stuff out there that's too confusing to think of. And to break it down even simpler, I think you try to wait back and hit the ball through the middle and the other way. I've always felt that and I'm not a hitting coach by any stretch, but I've always felt that when people try to get out of a little bit of a slump, it's just picturing hitting the ball the other way. And don't try to pull anything, because the longer you can, and again, Tony's backed some of this up, so I feel I can say this, with some, some sort of belief that it works, but you wait as long as you can, you hit the ball the other way, that lets the ball travel, gives you a chance to put a little better swing on it. And I've always felt, you see Manny start getting some base hits to right field, right center field, maybe it's a home run to right center. I think that's when you start getting it back. So I think that's what you can look for. But far be it for me to tell Manny how to fix this, but I think that's all you can do. I don't know what else you can do. Not going to bat left-handed all of a sudden. Speaking of Manny, here's the lineup for tonight's game. Manny's in it, and so is just about everybody else who's struggling. Freddie Fermin is batting leadoff tonight. No, wouldn't that be a story? No, Fernando's batting leadoff tonight. He's back at second base. We talked about his base running guffaw yesterday, and I can be as critical of it as anyone and will be. But I do think that in this case, Tony brought up a decent point, which was when you start losing like this and things are going this bad, you start doing things that you probably shouldn't even do to try to break out of it. And I just think Fernando's trying to make something happen in a situation he just had no business trying to do that. But it's neither here nor there. Jackson Merrill's batting second. Jackson Merrill's almost getting off the schneid here because there's so much focus on Manny. And before that, there was more focus on Fernando's lack of home runs. Jackson Merrill, in 48 games, has 11 RBIs. That's not what a middle-of-the-order guy does. In fact, that's more RBIs than I thought he had. He's got a 604 OPS. Ty France is batting third. He's become kind of the go-to guy. Hit into a big double play, though, yesterday. Manny Machado's batting cleanup. We've discussed his issues more than once. Xander Bogaerts has not been good for a long time. He's in a 1-for-19 streak right now, and he has 4 RBIs total in 27 games. Gavin Sheets is batting sixth, even against the lefty. Sheets has not done the job against lefties and basically hasn't done the job against anybody recently. He's in a 1-for-23 stretch himself, and he has an RBI in only 2 of his last 16 games. I mean, you get the picture here, right? This is not one guy. This is every guy. Jace Bowen's batting seventh. I imagine most of you, if you're like me, you were at least saw a little bright spot yesterday, that deep fly ball to the center field warning track. We know he's got some power. He's 1-for-12 so far, though, in his short stay. Also made a nice play in right field, although I subtract points for throwing out Juan Soto on the bases. I could throw out Juan Soto, that lazy bum, on the bases. Is it fair for me to call Juan Soto a lazy bum, or did you not see what happened Friday night? Like, can you make a more lazy play than that and actually not only make a lazy play and embarrass yourself, which I don't think Juan Soto cares about, but make a lazy, embarrassing play that takes a run off the board for your team? Like, that's the kind of stuff that would get me, as Juan Soto's teammate, to hate Juan Soto. So, look, Juan Soto is a generational talent, and everyone will tell you that, but he wouldn't play on my team. I can't deal with a guy like this. And if you didn't see it Friday night, 2 outs, runner at third. He hits a ground ball to second base, and he doesn't run. Oh, until Sun Myung Song kicks the ball into the outfield. And then Soto starts to run, but Song goes and gets the ball and throws him out. Had he run just a normal speed, he would have been safe, and the run would have come in from third. That's like low-hanging fruit for me for Juan Soto. It's what I expect from Juan Soto. And I sorry, if you think that's old man thinking, then then there's something wrong with the way you're looking at things. I don't think that's old man on the lawn thinking. I think that's just general, every day, you should do your best thinking. So, Samad Taylor's batting 8th. Samad had a hit yesterday, scored a couple of runs. He's in left field tonight. I'm not counting on him to turn the whole franchise around, but he does offer some speed. And Freddie Fermin, after, 0 for 30, Jesse said, I thought it was even 0 for 32. What'd you got, Adam? You're making
0 for 30.
It was 0 for 30?
Yep.
All right, well, let's not make it worse than it was then. He hit the home run on Saturday, hit a home run and a double yesterday. Freddie Fermin had 3 of the Padres' 4 extra base hits this weekend. If you're counting on Freddie Fermin to do the heavy lifting, probably not going to win many games, but he's batting 9th tonight. The other thing about the Mets series that I think is, stressing to me or distressing to me, the Padres are last in baseball in every hitting category. But the team that's second to last in every basic category is the Mets. They're the next worst team in on base, in slugging, in OPS. Mets. Padres are underneath only the Mets. So the two teams played this weekend in the same ballpark, under the same conditions, against the same mediocre pitchers. Even I think the Mets actually faced a couple of guys that are, I would rate above the ones the Mets threw. Anyway, the Mets scored 14 runs, had 28 hits, hit 277, and had 11 extra base hits, including 6 home runs. That's what the second worst team in baseball did. The first worst team in baseball did what you would kind of expect. 6 runs, 15 hits all weekend, 1 double, other than what Freddie Fermin did. And if you take Freddie Fermin away from the equation, the Padres, not their batting average, not their slugging percentage, their OPS for the weekend was 381.
The thing that kills me is guys on the other team come in here and it's like Luis Torrens, 0 home runs on the season.
Boom.
Right. Takes Michael King deep.
Carson Bench had 5 for 5 yesterday.
Marcus Semien, who's a lot older than the players, the older guys on this team, and he's older. He has 2 bombs.
And he's been at the bottom of the OPS standings all year. In fact, if you look up the bottom where you see Manny and Merrill, you'll see Semien there. But he hit 2 home runs in this series and almost hit a third. I think Taylor caught one at the wall yesterday. Yeah, you're not wrong, Adam. That's why I'm saying the Padres had a bad offensive weekend. Well, that's what they've been doing all year. The Mets had a really good offensive weekend, but that's not what they've been doing all year. So it just makes the whole thing a little tougher to stomach. The Mets are they're not good, but they looked like the better team this weekend. Clearly, the Reds come in here and they're not great either. They're under 500. But as I said earlier, I don't care if you're playing Georgia Tech tonight or the 27 Yankees. The Padres just got to find a way to get some offense going. There's so many different ways to point out how bad their offense is that it's almost like I don't know which way to choose. Like which terrible statistic most explains how bad the Padres offense is. Is it 5 runs or more only once in 14 games? Is it you got to go back to May 5th, the last time they got more than 10 hits in a game? That's over a month ago. The Mets had 13 yesterday. Padres haven't been over 10 since May 5th. Again, I don't want to fire the hitting coach, but, you got to do something. I just believe you do. I don't think you can even sell it to your fan base much longer. Say, hey, we're just going to expect this to turn around. And again, I don't blame the hitting coach necessarily, but he's going to have to be the one that takes the fall. Fortunately, when a team is struggling on offense the way the Padres are, they don't, look to the afternoon sports talk show host, right? Because if they did, my job would be in serious jeopardy right now, Adam. Just saying. And don't get any ideas.
What was it last year? The Rangers turned.
Did they fire a talk show host?
No, but they turned to Brett Boone, and he was a podcaster. I said, "Come on, come be our hitting coach." And a couple years ago, Sean Casey did it for the Yankees. Remember?
It's not impossible.
Right off the MLB Network set.
Yeah, it's not impossible to make a change.
You want to be hitting coach, Chris?
No, I don't. Although it's so low right now that maybe anybody who went in there might just by accident get some of the fruits of the improvement. But look, the Phillies did their Don Mattingly thing. Didn't make a lot of sense to me at the time. But how many people from Philadelphia have you heard say in the last month, hey, we needed a different voice? Don Mattingly has not gone in there and changed anything that I know of about the Phillies. The same lineup that Rob Thompson was putting out there. They played a little easier schedule, but beyond that, it's just a different voice. And, I brought this up last week. This is going to hockey, but the Las Vegas Knights are currently 2 wins away from the Stanley Cup. Do you know that they changed coaches with 8 games left in the regular season?
How about our beloved Steve Fisher, right, with Michigan?
Right, he came in and won it just straight up. Chris, in the tournament. A different voice, to me, almost has to be tried at this point.
I'll tell you this story, Chris, real quick. When the Phillies were in town, was it last week?
Yeah.
My wonderful, smart 11-year-old daughter, she loves sports. She loves the Padres.
Okay.
We're watching the Padres-Phillies, and she's like, Dad, when did the Phillies fire their manager? I said, they were 9-19 a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And she goes, Dad, when they brought in the new manager, she goes, what is he doing differently? Because now they're playing well. I go, Brooke, I don't know.
I don't think
she goes, well, does he focus on defense? I go, I'm pretty sure Bryce Harper knows how to field a ground ball at first base. I go, I don't know what he's doing differently. These guys are all professionals, but they turn things around. It's a new voice.
I think you're going to need a new voice. I hate to tell you. And if maybe that voice is your daughter, Brooke. What's she doing tonight, Adam?
No, I don't need to put her in the spotlight.
Get her down there. See if she sounds like a very smart.
I don't need the YouTube chat coming after my daughter.
She's also a very smart young lady asking some of those questions. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Tony returns. I was pausing there to get him a chance, but we're going to talk about this NBA Final Game 3 and the mess that is Madison Square Garden when Gwynn and Chris continues. so many questions about Wemby and the Spurs. And, unfortunately, if they do that, they'll be overlooking what the Knicks have done. And we haven't given the Knicks their props, I don't think, enough, Tony. I think a lot of it was they won all those games in the lousy East. And, they beat the Sixers, the Hawks, and teams that aren't, to the level that they're facing in the finals. And they've proved us wrong so far. So,
yep, I was definitely one of those people. So I get it.
And by the way, Adam Klug, your Hawks are the only team to beat the Knicks in the postseason still.
I'm well aware. We got it hanging in the rafters in Atlanta.
They're going to put a banner up. They're going to put a banner up for the Hawks, the only team to beat the Knicks this year. And by the way, both of those games were by 1 point. So the Knicks are that close to being undefeated in the postseason. So,
for sure.
All right.
For sure. All right, let's get to break. On the other side, more Gwynn and Chris.
I think we got to have a little Chris versus the fans coming up for people to dial in, 833-288-0973.
Boom.
Boom. Welcome back to it. Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. Monday. Adam Klug sitting in for Scraby today. Tony Gwynn Jr. With us much of the day. We'll be back for our Big Five. Tony, of course, down at Petco. Right now, Padres play the Reds tonight. And Craig Stammen meeting with the media as we speak. I imagine one of the things we're going to find out, as if we need any more potentially bad news, Miguel Andujar left the game yesterday with looked like a bit of a strain somewhere, hamstring maybe. And, hopefully that's not more than that. But we'll find out if there's any news on Miguel. We'll pass it along. I know one thing, he's not in the starting lineup tonight. Jake Cronenworth, though. A couple of sightings of Jake out at the ballpark today, which it's been almost a month and a half since Jake got hit with that pitch up in Anaheim. Anyway, Jake, come back and save us. Anybody come back and save us. Program emanating from the Bill Howe Studios, where we know how. Guests on the program will appear on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not big bank banking. It's better. Sam Levitt, the Nostradamus, Sam Levitt, will appear at 5 o'clock. He no doubt will be here to talk about the Padres, but will want to discuss the fact that his Knicks are going for a 3-0 series lead later tonight. All right, we're going to do some Chris versus the fans, but in order to do that, we need some fans. So you people who are out there and say, love to play Chris versus the fans, I can't get through. This would be a really good time to dial up. 833-288-0973. There are several lines available to play and a chance to win a fabulous staycation. Adam, get us going.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Chris versus the fans. Again, a couple phone lines available if you want to play. Pretty simple game. Adam Klug's going to ask you 3 questions. They'll range from easiest to hardest. They're really overall, most of them pretty easy. If you get it right, you move on to the next question. Very simple. If you get it wrong, though, then I get a chance to jump in. And if I get that question right, you are then eliminated. However, you can always stay alive because if I miss the question, you still move on to the next round. So there's a lot of different ways for you to win. And if you do win, you're going to get qualified for a chance at our grand prize this month, which is a 2-night staycation right here at the amazing, if you haven't been there recently, it really is something, the Town and Country Resort. You also get a $250 food and beverage credit, which helps the cause. You can work on resetting your vacation face this summer at the Town and Country Resort. 3 pools and a 4-story water slide named Twister. I didn't know the water slide had a name, Twister. Make the Town and Country a family favorite. Rates start at just a couple $100, $199 per night, exclusively for fan listeners. Visit towncountry.com/thefan to book now or be victorious in our game.
You forgot a very important part of the rules.
Right. If you're a first-time
player.
Exactly. You get the first person.
You set me up on that one.
First question for free.
Left me hanging.
I know. I didn't even join in on your
I'll remember that.
on your tribal scream.
I'll remember that.
Very well done, Adam Klug. All right. Well, you pick out the first caller there. Well, I'm gonna pick out the first caller. We got 2 Stevens. You pick one of those.
Let's go Steven in Chula Vista.
All right, Steven in Chula Vista. You won the Steven battle to be first.
Let's go. The better Steven prevails.
Well, hopefully so, Steve. Good luck.
We'll be the judge of that.
That's right. We will be the guys, the judge. Okay, what do you have, Adam Klug?
All right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
What country is Victor Wembanyama from?
Victor Wembanyama. What did he say?
France.
France, he said.
First round is a first round question, right?
Yeah, that's right. Right? He said, did he say Greece first? Or
No,
did
I said France. I said France.
No, he's good. He got it right.
We're giving it to you no matter what.
Buzzer.
We're giving it to you no matter what.
Well,
France
I'm
is right.
I'm feeling biased towards the other Steven.
I get you. All right, France is right.
Question number 2.
Victor. By the way, I think you're one of the few who pronounce it correctly, Adam. Victor Wembanyama. There is an N in there. People don't pronounce that very often.
I like to be accurate over here.
All right.
What Padres manager has the most wins in franchise history?
Okay.
Oh man.
Not winning percentage, most wins.
Is it Dick Williams?
Dick Williams.
Dick Williams. By the way, don't like to speak badly about those who have left us, but people say that Dick Williams was aptly named.
See what you did there.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that,
Do you want
Mr.
to just
Williams.
go ahead and tell us about the old, was it the 3 types of people on the show?
Dick Williams is, yeah, right. Dick Williams is a tough character. But although he did get them to the Worlds, I think Bochy's the all-time leader, isn't he? Yeah, he's been here the longest. Sorry, Steven. Maybe outthought yourself there. Boch is the champ.
Wait, at this point, don't we have to bring on the other Steven and see if he's better?
Yeah, let's go Steve number 2 here. Why not? Hi, Steve. Welcome.
At least it says Steven on the caller ID.
There he is. He's got it. I heard him.
He's there.
Okay.
Steven, welcome to the show. How are you?
Uh-oh. Well, our desire to have a second Steven is fading on us here.
No. Okay, so I guess the first Steven was, in fact.
He was the best of the Stevens.
The better of the 2 Stevens.
Yeah,
Let's
there
go
you
to
go.
Scott in San Diego.
All right. Hey, Scott.
Hey, guys. Happy Monday.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for coming on. And good luck.
Which Chicago Bears player was just announced as the Madden cover boy?
Ooh. Fair question.
Quarterback from USC, Caleb Williams.
Very good. Wow. Gave his name, rank, and file and everything. Yeah. Got it.
He knew what he was talking about.
He was on that. Very good, Scott. All right. Caleb Williams.
Gravy loves these types of questions. Here we go.
Okay.
Name 2 of the top 3 major league home run hitters so far this season.
Right now.
Active. Current. Right now.
Currently
top 3.
2 of the top 3 in the home run race. Who do you have, Scott?
I got one. I'm thinking about the second. First one is Kyle Schwarber.
Schwarber, yeah, I'm going to give you that is correct. There's 2 other guys that
I
both
believe
have...
I'll be the judge here of who's correct.
Sorry,
and who's
Adam.
not, you know?
Yeah, far be it for me to jump in. That's right. I may have to guess myself.
Even though he's injured, Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge. Scott.
I will choose not to say which of the answers was incorrect. You can now go, Chris.
All right. My 2 guesses. I'm not going to guess Kyle Schwarber then. I'm going to guess Muritaki or whatever his name is. And you have to give me that one.
Murakami, I
Murakami, yes. And Yordan Alvarez. Those are my 2 guesses. Sorry about that, Scott.
For the record, Schwarber was correct.
Schwarber is correct.
Yes. Answer.
Well, there's only 3 players over 20.
Correct.
And
Schwarber,
we named
Murakami,
all 3.
and Alvarez.
Yes, we
3
named all
correct
3
answers
for
there.
you. Okay.
All right, let's go to Robert.
Judge, by the way, is going to have trouble getting to where he gets. He's not coming back till August. It's going to be a while.
Robert in Vista joins us.
Hey, Robert's a good solid player here.
How you guys doing?
Pretty good, Robert. Good to talk to you. All right, get him, Adam.
Here's to start to a new winning streak.
Let's go.
Who has the highest qualified batting average on the San Diego Padres right now?
Goodness.
Qualified keyword. What was that?
You said Tatis, I believe.
He sure did.
And he got it.
Tatis, the answer we were looking
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Question number 2. This year, Miguel Andujar had has had 2 different instances of an 8-game hitting streak? Who's the only other player with at least one 8-game hitting streak?
This year.
This seems like a round 3 question, but he's not here to defend himself. Blame Scraby.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure.
You're looking for another Padre who's had an 8-game hitting streak this year.
Besides Miguel Andujar.
Besides Andujar. So there's another guy who had an 8-game hitting streak. Who is it?
Xander?
He says Xander. I like his guess. No good. Could it be that the answer to the first 2 questions is the same? I'll take Fernando. I don't know. He had a recent streak, but I don't know if he got it or not.
Nando.
Oh, who was it?
And Robert gets to continue on
Yes,
round
he does.
3. The
Yes, he
answer
does.
is Chris's favorite, who he predicted to be an all-star. Was it last year?
Campusano?
Luis Campusano.
Ah, good on Luis. Sneaking in there.
Come on
All
back.
right, good for
Come
you,
on
Robert.
back, Campy.
You get to move on to the final round here.
I think this is I'm going to go with a very gettable 3rd round question.
You may.
Here we go. Where did Jalen Brunson play college basketball?
Jalen Brunson.
Villanova.
He's on it. Good job, Robert. Way to go, man. Happy to see you winning today. Robert is he's a frequent player, but I'd be straight up. He's not a frequent winner, but he won this time.
Yep.
Stay on the line, Robert.
He's a frequent player.
He's a frequent player and a frequent winner today. Good job, Robert. Stay on the line. You'll qualify. Especially he's in Vista, man. A trip to the town and country would be, pretty sweet. So I say, good luck to you, Robert. Thanks for playing there. We'll take a break. We'll check a little traffic here. Still to come on the program, we got a Big Five. In the Big Five, we are going to talk about this story that is really probably the story of the day if you're not looking at the NBA Finals or the disaster of the Padres. And that is the judge ruling that the kid from Texas Tech, Sorsby, can now play college football despite admittingly betting on games and being banned by the NCAA. This story has everybody, standing on their head. We'll discuss that in the Big Five. Also, Sam Levitt joins us in the 5 o'clock hour. But we also have to give away Padres tickets to tomorrow night's game against the Reds. I have a sneaky suspicion we may do that in the next segment, so don't go anywhere. weekends. I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you feel a little better here in a minute. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris, 4:18 the time. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Scraby replaced today by Adam Klug, who just did a good job on our Chris vs. the Fans. Robert paid off in a victory. Coming up, we're going to give you a chance to win 2 tickets to tomorrow's Padres-Reds game. I don't think it matters, Adam, how badly the team is going. People still like free tickets to games.
Always a great night out of the ballpark.
Yes, it is. It's always a lot of fun. And tomorrow night is going to be Xander's Bogey Goes Boom. Boom. Bobblehead giveaway tomorrow night.
I guess that means he's going to hit a home run tomorrow, right?
I'd rather him hit one tonight and tomorrow. Bogey has not gone boom very often of late. Padres offense has gone bust, not boom. We'll give away some tickets, a chance here coming up. So, Nelly Corda, would you say, Adam, and you're limited, although you're a good sports guy, because I'm limited too, but in your limited knowledge of women's golf.
What are you just assuming I don't watch women's golf?
I didn't say you don't watch it. I just say it's probably not at the tip top of your ledger.
You would be right about that.
I don't believe you're in a fantasy women's golf league or anything like that.
You would be right.
Okay. But you know probably as well as I do, Nelly Corda is like the women's golfer, cream of the crop, right?
Correct.
Way up there. I think her dad was a pro tennis player from Australia. Her sister's a big-time player. But she has become the face of women's golf, Nelly Corda.
Did you see her putt?
That's what I'm bringing up. And I'm trying to bring this. I'm bringing this up because I want to make me and everybody else out there who goes out on a, weekly basis or on the weekend and plays, whatever it is, Riverwalk and Nagic, Mission Bay, wherever you go, Balboa, Loma Santa Fe, all the hoity-toity courses up there that they don't let me in. Wherever it is you play, you probably have had like a gimme putt, but you know what I mean? It's not exactly a gimme. Like you need to knock it in to finish the hole, and you somehow blow it. And you're like, oh my God, how could I blow that? Nelly Corda had a 2-foot putt yesterday to win the U.S. Open, a 2-footer. The best women's golfer maybe ever, or one of the best ever. And she nearly missed it, right? It rolled off.
Hit the lip, rolled around.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, you talk about the gimme putt of all time. But I'm just saying, if it can happen to Nelly Corda, it can certainly happen to me or to you out there. So next time, don't be so hard on yourself and, move on to live another day. That game of golf is tough. As I've said before many times, the biggest problem with the game of golf is there's really no way to win. You don't win at golf. You get a low score. Well, no matter what your score is, it could have been lower just by the very nature of the game. So,
but aren't all sports like that? No matter how many runs you score in baseball, the other team could score more.
Yes, but
if you score 180 points in basketball and lose, theoretically.
No, but if you score more and the game ends, you win. You walk off, you shake hands, you won that day.
The time runs out.
Right, in golf, if I shoot a 70, which, I could have gone 68, so I could go home and be upset with myself for missing those 2 shots.
Or you could not be in the final pairing on Sunday, make a late surge up the leaderboard, finish your round while others are still playing, and you don't even know if you won or not.
Right. Well, you're talking about at the pro level. I'm talking about at the everyday level.
Fair enough.
No matter what we do, if I shoot 100, I could have shot 96. If I shoot 90, I could have shot 86. Therein lies one of the issues in golf. Secondly, there was an incredibly good Stanley Cup final game on, I don't know now, is it Friday or Saturday night? I think it was Saturday night. Game 3 in Las Vegas. And I know a lot of you, I talk about hockey, and most of you probably say, hockey. The Stanley Cup finals have been incredible. All 3 games have been like better than the one before it. And the game in Game 3, I don't know if you saw how this went, Adam. But Vegas, which I'm still trouble adapting to why they don't call themselves Las Vegas, but Vegas took a 4-0 lead at the end of the second period.
All 4 in the second period, right?
Yes. And a guy named Mitch Marner scored a hat trick, a natural hat trick. And a lot of people say, well, what's that? I know a hat trick is 3 goals. What's a natural hat trick? A natural hat trick means you score 3 goals in a row yourself. Nobody else scored. So he did that. The crowd in Vegas was going bonkers. They led 4-0, third period. Carolina scores 3 goals in 29 seconds and then scores the tying goal in the dying minute of the game. So an incredible comeback. As a matter of fact, in the history of the Stanley Cup Finals, no team had ever won a game trailing by 4 goals in the third period. And as it turns out, that is still the case because in overtime, Vegas scored and they won 5-4. And the winning goal was scored by a guy named Shea Theodore, who any of you savvy Gulls fans will know, began his career in the Ducks organization and played right here in San Diego for a couple of years before going up to the NHL, where now he is a star for the Vegas Golden Knights. 5-4 Vegas. The last 2 games have gone to overtime. All 3 games have been decided by one goal. So I would recommend tomorrow night you watch Game 4 because it's been that good. And Vegas leads 2-1 right now.
You brought up the
good series.
You brought up the natural hat trick there.
Yeah.
Is there a term or a phrase for hitting a cycle in order? A single, then a double, then a triple.
I guess that would be a natural cycle,
right?
Can we
term it right now? Coin it. Natural cycle.
You know, go see if you can copyright it, Adam. You and I can, make some money the next time it happens, although it probably never happens. Right? You have to hit a single your first time. Is that what you're saying? Single, then double, then triple,
Correct,
then home run? Could look it up. I mean, there's been fewer cycles in Major League Baseball, right, than no-hitters. Yeah. The no-hitter is more prevalent than a cycle.
Padres had a cycle before a no-hitter, right?
Yeah. I think right now the Padres are 2-2, aren't they? Or maybe the two no-hitters.
Will Myers and Jake Cronenworth cycles?
Matt Kemp was the first, so maybe they have more cycles than home runs. It's close, though. For a while, the Padres had neither. But, yeah, cycles are not as prevalent as
I think cycles are overrated.
A little bit. I mean,
like the idea that you're missing a single or a double for the cycle. You'd rather have a single or a double than a home run.
Right. So if you hit the ball off the wall, which you're supposed to stop at second.
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's a bit arbitrary, but so is a no-hitter. I mean, look at some of the people who pitch no-hitters. They're not the best pitchers. And look at some of the best pitchers who have never pitched a no-hitter. So it's a bit arbitrary in that regard. All right, nothing arbitrary about this. Put your thinking caps on. If you've been here the last couple of weeks, we've been doing this now to win Padre tickets. And the reason I came up with this idea, Adam, is because I didn't like people just looking up the answer and then calling in. So you have to do some thinking and some figuring to get the answer correct. And if you get it correct, you're going to go to the game tomorrow night. You're going to get a Xander Bogaerts bobblehead giveaway presented by Palomar Specialty Insurance. Tomorrow night, 6:40 game, Padres-Reds, first 40,000 in attendance will receive the Goes Boom bobblehead presented by Palomar Specialty Insurance. Repping the Padres military Sunday uniform, Xander Bogaerts is featured with a signature home run swing. For more information, visit padre.com/giveaway. So here's how you're going to win. It's going to be a number, and here's how you're going to arrive at the winning number. You're going to start by taking the number of Super Bowl appearances made by the New England Patriots. So you need to know that. How many times have the New England Patriots been in the Super Bowl? You're going to take that number, and you're going to add to it the number of championships won by the Boston Celtics.
I was told there'd be no math.
You don't have to do the math. The listeners do. Number of Patriots Super Bowl appearances plus number of Celtics championships. Now it might get even tougher. Take the current number you have and divide that by the number of SEC teams that are in the College World Series.
You know that we actually want our listeners to win these tickets.
You always say that, and Scraby says they're never going to win. And you know what? The first person has won every single time. Patriots appearances, Celtics championships divided by the number of SEC teams in the College World Series. Take your new number and add to it the number that Craig Stammen wears on his jersey right now. That will give you the final answer. If you get it right, 833-288-0973. When Adam goes to you, say a number. If you got the right number, you'll win tickets to Padres-Reds tomorrow night. Good luck.
There's
Tony,
much
you care
more.
to,
Tony, I don't know where Tony went.
Because Tony,
I see the corner of his room.
Oh, well, hopefully he'll be back shortly. Harbaugh.
I'm not sure where he went. I might text him to see if he's okay here in a second.
Hope he didn't. Yeah.
Did you think he fell in the shower or
Well, I hope he
something?
didn't meet with foul play.
You think he met with foul play in our commercial break?
I don't know.
I mean, he is in New York City. So.
He's in New York City. It could be, you never know.
All right, we'll just go forward.
We're just going to go forward without Tony. I'm sure he'll rejoin us when he gets a moment.
Everybody stare at that box in the top right corner because it's just the corner of his room.
I'm going to look now. I'm kind of intrigued.
Oh, someone says maybe he's in the bathroom. I don't know.
He's been known to go there. As have all of us, frankly, but him more than most.
Over under, Tony just forgot that he was doing the show.
That's not nice. Yeah, so maybe that's what they're thinking.
You know what just hit me, Chris?
No.
What if Tony went out to get like ice or something and he forgot his room key?
That is something
Very
that
well
he
possible.
is more than capable of doing.
Because he would never be gone this late, this long, with knowing that he was on the show.
No kidding, man. We took a commercial break like 5 minutes ago, and he has not returned.
I'm going to text him.
Like, ask him, are you out in the hall trying to get into your room
Say,
right now?
Everything okay?
Oh, no. This
Question mark.
is scaring me. No. Did you hear back from Tony yet?
No, I'm thinking
something.
I'm thinking he locked himself out. He doesn't have his phone because it's in the room, so he's down at the front desk or something. I
don't know. I'm sure there's a story in here somewhere.
There's definitely
when we get him
got
back
to
on
be
the
a
air.
story. Anyway. I was very concerned about Tony, and I took him off the screen because he's not back. I guarantee you he got locked out of his room.
I don't think you're wrong, because that makes sense. But how far away is the lobby? Of course, the New York hotel, it could be one of those ones where you got to wait a while to get up to the...
And he's just sitting in line. I don't know why I find this so funny, but it is.
Well, it's funny
to me.
if he comes back with a funny story.
Yeah, like
it's
I
not
locked myself
funny.
out.
It's not funny if he fell and hit his head somewhere
Well,
and we don't know where he is.
Of course,
That's not funny.
Of course, that's not funny.
He's obviously not with his phone because he hasn't gotten back to us.
Has Tony locked himself out before? Not during the show, but I'm sure he has at one point in his life.
Of all people, Tony would certainly seem to be one who would do it.
Oh, August also says, Clinton said, got to use the key card for the elevator too. So maybe he's just stuck.
You can't even get down? No, you don't need the key card to go down.
Okay.
You only need those to go up. You should be able to get down to the lobby to say, hey, I locked myself out. In New York City. But if we do, can you go to the Padre Hotel and knock on Tony's door? We don't know where he is still.
No.
Still hasn't come back.
And I turned on
It's been 20 minutes now.
I know. Now I'm starting to get a little worried.
Yeah. Where'd he go?
What
happened?
I don't know. I would call the front desk of the hotel, but I have no idea where they're staying.
I don't know where they're staying either. And when you sent him a text and said, is everything all right? We have not heard back from him. He is still not back in his room.
I bet you he is standing in line in the lobby as we speak.
Trying to get his key back. Or
someone
key.
said text Jesse or Dave. And
it's really not a bad idea. Maybe at the next break, though.
Yes.
If we get to the next break, we got to text those guys so that they can go make sure he's okay. Because I don't know where he is. It's crazy.
Dave Marcus is probably the one to text.
We'll text Dave.
Because he's, Jesse could be doing anything, but Dave's always there ready to go.
You're trying to say Dave has a ho-hum life and he'd just be sitting around waiting for a text, whereas Jesse might be busy? Is that what you're...
Dave's been doing this job for like 30 years. I don't think the what is the word I'm looking for? Never mind.
All right. Well, there's certainly an explanation, but we don't have it yet.
Text Scan. I don't know Scan well enough to text him.
We're going to text Dave if this gets to the top of the hour, and we still don't have a Tony Gwynn Jr. sighting. All right, do we just go to traffic like it's normal behavior time? I mean, it just seems weird.
We got to move on with the show.
Show must go on?
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, we're going to do the good, the bad, and the really, really weird and ugly next here after traffic. All right, it's with less enthusiasm than usual that we embark on the good, the bad, and the ugly for week 2, Scrape.
I'm going to try not to worry too much.
I'm going to try not to worry also. I'm not necessarily the worrying type.
I'm not either.
But, I'm intrigued now at this point. Like it's with this long pass to Devontae Smith.
He's back.
Helped put him there.
Hold on. He's back, everybody.
Stop everything.
I literally, we went to commercial break. I laid on the bed, and then I just fell asleep.
I never even considered it.
Tony, you care to
Tony, I don't know where Tony went.
Because Tony,
I see the corner of his room.
Oh, well, hopefully he'll be back shortly. Harbaugh.
I'm not sure where he went. I might text him to see if he's okay here in a second.
Hope. All right, welcome back to the program. Consider Adam Klug amazed again by how smart you guys are out there. Who was the second caller? Chris was his name, yes? Chris? Adam? I think his name was Chris.
I don't know. We got to look it up.
Oh, anyway, here's how the answer went.
Yes, Chris.
Chris was the winner for the Padre tickets. We started out with the number of Super Bowl appearances made by the Patriots. Do you know the answer to that question alone, Adam?
Appearances?
Yeah, appearances. Okay.
6? Is it 7? Including the 90s?
No, appearances for the like not wins, but times they've been in the Super Bowl. Patriots have been to the Super Bowl 12 times.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
All right, so you needed to know that. You needed to know how many championships the Celtics have won, which is
18.
18, very good. So 12 plus 18,
30.
You got 30. You take that, you divide it by the number of SEC teams that qualified for the College World Series this year. You probably know this as an SEC baseball fan.
I got to be honest, everyone's been tweeting about the College World Series and whatnot.
But you didn't look it up.
I haven't watched any of it,
All
even
right.
though Georgia
Well,
was in
5 SEC teams made it to the College World Series. There's only 8 teams in the whole thing. So 5 into 30 leaves you with a number of 6. You add to that Craig Stammen's jersey number, which not everybody knows, but it is 14. And that leaves you with a correct answer today of 20. And that is what Chris guessed, and he was on it. So good for you, Chris, and enjoy the game tomorrow night. Hopefully we'll give some away Padre tickets here soon. Right now, though, Tony's back in business. We'll check some traffic and today's Big Five.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, well, as everybody knows by now, Scraby has deserted us on this Monday. So we bring in our guy, Adam Klug, for the Big Five today. And Tony, that usually means you and I have to be on our P's and Q's and on the edge of our seats because, Adam's going to throw some tough stuff at us.
Yeah, we won't be questioning the questions.
Yeah, usually, half the battle is just getting Scraby to ask questions that make sense. But we know that won't be a problem today. All right, Adam, take over, sir.
Number 5.
Hello, gentlemen. Happy to be in today. Let's get things started. Reports of the Diamondbacks' frustration with all-star second baseman Ketel Marte aren't breaking news, as the club was reportedly unhappy with how much time he took away from the team after his home was broken into last year, and that he irked his teammates. The D-backs even shopped him on the trade market this past offseason. Marte's having an average season by his standards, but Bob Nightingale reported yesterday that some within the organization continue to be frustrated by Marte taking days off, and specifically noted him opting to rest last week on the day that Shohei Ohtani pitched. Tony, we'll start with you. The Diamondbacks continuing to be frustrated with Ketel Marte. Big deal, little deal, or no deal?
I would say it's a big deal because I don't think they're that great without Ketel Marte. Honestly. I mean, they got some good players. Obviously, Corbin is right there next to him in terms of the importance. But outside of that, I don't know that there's a player that they have of importance that can have an impact. Now, I guess it depends on what they mean by shopping him. What does that mean for the rest of their season, how they're viewing it? Like at this point, I would say they're right in the thick of it. So I think it would be kind of silly to shop him now unless you are getting a type of player of his caliber in return. Otherwise, I think it's going backward. So I think it's a big deal that the fact that they're, if indeed, what is being reported is accurate and it's not a playoff of something from last year. I would say it is a big deal.
Chris, what do you think? Big deal, little deal, or no deal?
Well, let me start by saying that Bob Nightingale is an old friend and colleague here in San Diego at the LA Times. And then let me go on next by saying I hardly ever believe things that he reports because a lot of them really aren't true. The question to me is whether this is a team-wide thing. If there's a bunch of guys in the clubhouse and they're all saying, man, Ketel Marte, he's getting special treatment, he's doing this, he's doing that. And that is that the temperature, the Torey Lovello and the GM and the people around that organization, they have to figure that out. If it is one player who went to Bob Nightingale and said, man, can you believe that guy sat out against Shohei Ohtani? Then it's no deal at all. So it's really difficult to put an exact your finger on this. The other thing is I think it does speak to a little bit bigger picture in the sense that we are now, and maybe we've always been, in the age of, certain athletes who, rise above, the rest in their performance. And sometimes, they take that off the field as well. I can't imagine. Hey, let's go back. I can't imagine Babe Ruth played by the same rules that, whoever the second baseman was that year, right? Babe was on the train till 4 a.m. He was also in the lineup the next day. So it's Ketel Marte. You're going to have to maybe put up with a little of this stuff if that's what's really happening. But I agree with Tony. There's no way they're going to get better by trading Ketel Marte. So I think how teams negotiate this stuff in general is, really important factor in terms of having successful seasons, Tony, because I think this kind of stuff is probably happening in some degree everywhere.
No doubt. I think you kind of hit on it. But every era of sports, the standout players always get a little bit extra treatment.
Yeah.
It's just when it becomes too much. And as Chris said, it becomes a team deal. Most guys recognize that and negotiate that, understanding, this is how it works. But it's when it becomes too big and it becomes too much of a distraction that now you have to manage whether this is worth it for us as an organization to continue.
Or when the production doesn't match the
that sometimes is a factor.
That's usually the thing that ultimately wins out. But in the cases where production is still phenomenal or still good enough, you got to weigh that.
I until about 2 years ago, because I think it's a perfect, end to this conversation. Until about 2 years ago, I subscribed to the theory that the best way to manage any team is to treat all the guys equally and with a similar amount of respect. Until Troy Aikman told the story that when Jimmy Johnson came to the Cowboys, the first thing he said at one of his meetings was, hey guys, I'm not going to treat all of you the same. Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, whoever, they're probably going to get a little different treatment than a rookie. And the more I thought about it, the more it makes sense. And Jimmy Johnson's thing was, you want to be treated like Troy Aikman? Play like Troy Aikman. So, there's a lot to this, but yeah, I think it's just, kind of the way it goes.
By the way, it's not just in sports. That's in every
you're right,
business,
Tony.
walk of life. If I mean, HR has made it so that it's at least close to even, but the high earners in any business are going to get treated a little bit differently than some of the ones who are not earning as much as the high earners.
You can always count on Chris for a nuanced answer to big deal, little deal, or no deal.
Well, I thought that was a good topic. So I'm giving you credit for a good topic.
Number 4.
During Saturday's loss to the New York Liberty, Caitlin Clark seemed to snub a teammate of hers for a high five late in the game. With 1:26 remaining in the fourth quarter and the Fever trailing by 6, Tyasha Harris tried multiple times to high five her teammate during a timeout, but Clark didn't reciprocate. You guys have both seen the video. Chris, I'll start with you. Do you believe Clark was intentionally snubbing her teammate?
It's hard. I don't know, obviously. Maybe they, Tyasha Harris took the last croissant at breakfast that morning. I don't know. I watched it a couple of times to see if I could see. And it looked like Caitlin Clark stared right through her. But Caitlin Clark also pretty damn intense player. And it wouldn't shock me if her mind was just completely elsewhere and she didn't see it. Having said that, Caitlin Clark also has to realize that as Caitlin Clark, everything she does or doesn't do is going to be blown way out of proportion. So in order to try to keep herself out of as many of these things as she seems to be caught up in, maybe she does need to pay a little bit more attention to this kind of thing and, try to lessen the opportunity for people to be critical of her. She's so polarizing, but it's only because she's good, I think, that people are always waiting to try and poke holes in her. So, my way of doing that, if I was Caitlin Clark, was stop giving them things to poke holes in.
I feel like we're in an episode of Seinfeld here talking about snubs. Tony, what do you think? Is this an intentional snub?
No, I don't think so. I've been just staring at this video since you sent it. And I think she's just looking through it.
Yeah.
She is like, there are so many situations I've been that guy with my knuckles up, and whoever it is just locked in to whatever it is they're thinking about. And I could be looking them dead in the eye, and it may appear that they're looking at me dead in the eye, but they're not. They're looking right through. I might as well be a pane of glass at that point. That's what it looks like Caitlin Clark is doing right there. I find it hard to believe that she just was just like, I'm not even going to put my finger up to high five her.
I'm going to give Caitlin, she needs a little benefit of the doubt right about now.
I think it's easy to fall into that she did it on purpose because she has been in the news a little bit lately, whether it's going to her and her head coach getting after it or her and her referees getting after it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Kobe Bryant yelled at his coach often, and they, the game was over, and then they moved on. That's part of.
We know that.
But now Caitlin Clark is being made out to be this horrible person.
Can I add some nuance here?
Sure.
Intentional, but justified. Right? You're losing. It's late in the game. She's trying to figure out a way to win the game, not be congratulated while losing.
Yes, but I don't also think it was intentional. I don't think she saw her. I think she was just being totally locked in.
I don't think that it's appropriate to, if you're losing, to have a teammate kind of look to try to boost you and you just ignore intentionally.
Right.
I don't think there's a legitimate excuse for that.
Right.
So
if she did do it intentionally and we found that out, then she would deserve some criticism for sure.
Number 3.
Baker Mayfield is entering the final year of his contract with the Buccaneers, but has yet to agree on a contract extension. Mayfield spoke for the first time this offseason over the weekend and said that the discussions are, quote, not anywhere close to what he was thinking and that it's time to get a long-term deal done. Mayfield said he and his agent set a deadline of the start of training camp in late July to get a deal done. Mayfield just turned 31 and last season had the fewest passing yards, passing touchdowns, and lowest quarterback rating during his time with the Bucs. Tony, do you think the Bucs would be wise to sign Baker Mayfield to a new quarterback mega deal?
Yes. Only because they're not in a position where they're going to suck and most likely be in a position where they can get one of these quarterbacks coming out. And we've talked about this so often. There just aren't that many good, not great, good quarterbacks in the NFL, which is why teams are every year, there's at least 7 or 8 looking for a new one. And so yes, this may have been his worst year, and I love how you said that, as a Tampa Bay Buck, but it still gave him an opportunity to make the playoffs, especially in that division. And so I think this is I think the Bucks would behoove them to at least look into an extension with Baker, because I don't know that there's better options out there who are going to become available.
Chris, what do you think? If you were the Bucks, would you sign Baker?
Well, a lot of things, I kind of compare to what happened across the state. And, when Tua was up for the big contract over there with Miami, he was coming off that year where he'd been the leading passer, I think, in the league until about the last 3-4 games of the season. And I don't think the Dolphins felt like they had any choice but to sign him to this monster thing, despite the fact that there were concerns about his health, et cetera. And then 2 years later, they look like real idiots, when they've got all this money invested in a guy that wasn't playing. But they didn't really have a choice. And this is the same for Tampa Bay. They don't have a choice. There's only, Tony said it, thank you. There's only 12 or 14 decent quarterbacks in the NFL. Tampa Bay happens to have one either who is or certainly has shown the potential to be one.
Right.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to cut with him and try to find where else are you going to go? There just aren't enough of these guys. The timing isn't perfect for Baker. Obviously didn't have his greatest year, but he's done some good things for Tampa Bay. And this is the price of playing poker at this level. You want a contending team, you need a good quarterback, and you're going to have to pay up and run the risk of what happened to Miami, because you just don't really have a choice, I don't think.
Number 2.
Sticking with quarterback news, Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby has been granted a temporary injunction against the NCAA by a district judge in Lubbock County and will be eligible to play in 2026 after acknowledging that he gambled on college football, including on his own team while playing at Indiana. The NCAA has released a statement saying, quote, "The NCAA strongly disagrees with the court's ruling and is deeply concerned about the damaging, far-reaching, and broadly destabilizing ramification of this outcome, which undermines and corrupts the integrity of sports." Chris, do you think that Brandon Sorsby should be allowed to play college football in 2026 after admitting to betting on his own team?
First of all, it's a good thing the Padres are doing as badly as they are, because this probably would have been the number 1 or 2 topic of the day. No doubt. So, we haven't been able to get into it yet because there's been so many other things on our plate. But this is the most ridiculously bad decision I've ever seen by a judge. May not ever, but it's right up there. They did check into the background of this judge, by the way, and he's from Texas, but doesn't live necessarily near Lubbock. It doesn't mean he's not a lifelong Texas Tech fan, for all I know. There's people who work in our justice system, right? We have lawyers who listen and judges and people who do. So I'm not going to sit there and criticize our entire system. I'm really not. I know there's a lot of great things about it. But it seems to me when you can just keep looking around until you find one judge, one place, somewhere who will give you an injunction, and then that supersedes all of the other decisions that have been made on this case, that to me seems like there's something wrong with that and a loophole that needs to be closed in our system. Because every step of the way, he has been stopped from playing correctly, and then one judge can just that's what I don't totally understand. And then the second part I'll just say, because I want to leave some for Tony, just because he's been given this injunction does not mean Texas Tech has to make them their starting quarterback. So there's a lot of this on Texas Tech as well.
It's like the basketball player at Alabama, right?
You don't have, he could be available, and you say, look, you know what? We're going to do what's right for college football. We're not going to play this guy. So some of it's on Texas Tech too.
It also may not ultimately stand if there's a reversal. But Tony, what do you think? Should Sorsby be allowed to play?
That's what I was going to ask you. How long is the injunction for? There's got to be an
It's for now. And I did read a little on this, Tony.
It's temporary.
It's temporary, but the season's only a few months away. And from what I'm told, any appeal by the NCAA on this decision will take so long that the season will be over. So it doesn't look like anyone's going to be able to stop him from playing at this point.
Yeah, no, I think no. The answer is no. I don't think he should be allowed to play. I mean, this is pretty cut and dry to me. Like, you're not allowed to bet on sports as a collegiate athlete, right? Let alone against or for your own team. Like, it's just
which he
all kinds
admitted
of
to
wrong.
doing.
Which he admitted to doing. So I'm just like, at this point, I don't think he should have been allowed to play. I think, as Chris said, I don't even know if we're so far gone in terms of like the fact that you can like look for a judge that will agree to whatever it is you're trying to get done is crazy. If that is indeed what happened, because I mean that's what we're all kind of assuming is happening.
Maybe they just
here,
got fortunate and found the one guy who would agree with them. But
But I don't see how this could be a help to anybody other than my man. And I don't even think it's a help to him. I mean, he literally has what is the consequence for having this gambling issue? What ends up being the consequence?
Right now, nothing.
Nothing. And so what's to stop the next kid from deciding, I'm going to do this, admit that I have a problem.
And then claim that I need to make money and be able to earn a living, which is what his lawyers did for him.
Listen, I'm all for collegiate athletes being able to make as much money as possible. But if there are some rules that you have to abide by in that process and you don't abide by them, there should be a consequence.
I mean, let's extrapolate this out for 1/2 second, because I said I was done, but I'm not. Shouldn't almost every person right now who's in jail, incarcerated, be able to make an argument that they're being kept from being able to go out and earn a living and live their life the way they want to? I'm trying to be ridiculous to a point, but
minus the people who harm somebody.
That's what this guy is basically doing. He broke all the rules. He admitted to it, and then said, because you're penalizing me for that, I can't earn a living. And they, some judge bought that.
Well, the other thing is, and I think we're all mental health advocates, but he's basically claiming that he had, a gambling addiction. And so essentially now he's gone to rehab and everything's fine now. And the rules don't apply to him because he had an addiction.
How many people are incarcerated for various transgressions because they were addicted to something?
Addiction, for sure.
Right.
So they should all be let out, and they all need to get jobs because they're being kept from earning. There comes a point here where you got to say enough's enough, and I thought this was going to be the point, but evidently not.
Right.
Number 1.
Chicago Bulls icon Stacey King passed away yesterday at the age of 59. King won 3 NBA titles with the Bulls as a player before becoming an Emmy Award-winning broadcaster for the team after his playing career. Chris, you're a resident Bulls fan. What did Stacey King mean to you?
Well, a few things. I mean, I watched a ton of Bulls games that he did, and I think Tony, if he heard him, would agree with me. Yeah. Wildly entertaining. Like really good and fair to both teams. Like if the other team was dunking on the Bulls, he said so. So Stacey was just fantastic. It was a perfect situation for him. As a player, I believe he was the number 1 overall pick in the year that he was drafted. And then there was some trading and some maneuvering around, and he ended up in the 6th spot with the Bulls. And so I don't recollect exactly how that came down, but he was very highly regarded out of Oklahoma, and, he fit in on the first championship team. He was kind of the second or third center there, along with, Bill Cartwright and Scott Williams. And I will say, as a Bulls fan, Stacey King had one glorious moment. You'd have to look at it. But it was game 6 of the second championship year. They were down 15 to Portland in the 4th quarter. He came in and helped lead the comeback while Jordan was sitting on the bench. And then Jordan came in and finished off the championship. But, yeah, I was really saddened by this. And, 59, way too early. I haven't heard any details, and I don't know how much, if they've released anything.
Cause of death not released.
I just, broke my heart. Honestly, it did.
Tony, any thoughts on the passing of Stacey King?
Same, man. I think Stacey King was wildly entertaining. He was. I always enjoyed his calls, and I think Chris had kind of hit it on the head. He was fair, both sides. He wasn't a super homer like some of the NBA, like Boston's broadcasters are called him out specifically. But yeah, man, it was so sad. I saw it come across my phone, and I turned to Dave Marcus, and I said, Stacey King passed? And he kind of already had the heads up on it. It's just, man, it's 59, man. I instantly have to think about my dad. Just losing your life in your 50s is so early, and so yeah, it was pretty sad for sure.
You know what, Tony, you said what you said, and I know you can't help but think of your pops anytime something like this happens, and I can't think of help thinking of your pops too. That's the person closest in my life who I feel like this kind of sadness for in that regard, because as far as we know, there was nothing wrong with Stacey King. I do believe he had gained quite a bit of weight over the last few years. Don't know what that means or if anything, but just hate to see it. Sad way to end the Big Five, Adam Klug.
We're remembering.
We're remembering. We're honoring Stacey King. Okay.
Celebration of life, right?
Very
Not
good.
funerals anymore.
There you go.
Thank you. All right, Sam Levitt. Speaking of celebrating a life, he'll join us from Petco Park, help us break down the Reds Padres series, which starts tonight. Yeah, the schedule says you must play on. So we'll take a look at what's coming up as more Gwynn and Chris heads your way. We sail into the happy hour here. I know, nobody's happy out there. I get it, but the Padres are back in action tonight, and they'll take on the Reds, and no time like the present to get a little hot streak going and try to get things turned around, especially on offense. Sam Levitt is down there at Petco Park. He's got the Padre pregame show, and here in a little bit, he joins us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not big bank banking. It's better. Sam, I'm surprised you're with us. I thought for sure that Adam and I would see you pulling up with the President Trump motorcade at Madison Square Garden tonight for the game. Getting your taking your seat, amongst Timothy Chalamet and the people in the front row there. What's up?
Yeah, you know what? I tried to get the seats right next to Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, but I did my best.
Wasn't in the cards, huh?
I put out some messages to the powers that be, but unfortunately I was unable to get back to Manhattan for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. So I will enjoy it during the ball game like everybody else. Remember my pick. I told you, Knicks in 4. Not looking so crazy right now. We'll see what happens tonight.
Yeah, well, now that you came up with that, could you predict Padres score 10? Just something to help us get things turned around. I just gonna ask you, because you do the pre and the post, so you get it even worse than I, or more than I do. But it's all I get asked right now. What's wrong with the Padres? Why can't they hit? And what do you say? I'm just curious what's your go-to answer there.
Yeah. It's tough, Chris. I don't have the answer right now, and I feel like the only thing you can really say right now is that you hope it turns around. You hope that these big guys start hitting. That history would tell us that over the course of a long season, it will not be this bad offensively. But with each passing day, it's getting harder and harder to imagine that as this very slow and really, and I hate to say it, historically slow offensive start for this team continues. And you look at the calendar, Chris, it is June 8th. A week from now, we're mid-June. We're heading towards the All-Star break, and the collective numbers are what they are. So I think that's what's, really frustrating about it. And I think hard from my perspective about it, and I think you as well, as people who have to talk about it on the air every day, is it's hard to explain just how bad it's been offensively, and B, it's hard to know what exactly the answers are to fix it. So those are difficult things. And, I don't know that hope is a great strategy, but aside from saying you hope that these guys, turn it around and have numbers that look a little bit more like the back of their baseball cards in the final 4 months or so of the season, rather than what they've done the first couple of months. I feel like that's the best you can do right now. I don't have the answers, and it feels like everybody, both, inside and outside, are searching for those answers.
Yep, no question. Sammy Levitt is at the ball game. Reds and Padres coming up. Give us a little update. I heard we have an update, I believe, on Miguel Andujar, and there hasn't been any good news lately, so this seems like good news. So let's at least give that out.
Yeah, Miguel Andujar doesn't sound like the hamstring injury is overly serious for Miguel. Did feel a little something. Sounds like there's a chance he could come off the bench today. Both he said that. Craig Stammen said they'll continue to evaluate it and, see kind of how he feels throughout the day and assess his availability. So it does sound like there's a chance he could be available today. If he is or if he isn't, I think the good news is it doesn't sound like anything overly serious for Miguel. And look, that I know Miguel Andujar has been slumping, Chris, but that's the last thing this Padres club needs is yet another injury. And they're dealing with that's now part of it too. Yes, it's the stars struggling. Yes, it's the starting pitching having some woes at times, and the bullpen not being quite as good as they've been at points over the course of the last week or so. But it's also the injuries right now. The fact that Campusano has been out. I know everybody was all over Jake Cronenworth, but I don't know about you. I'd like Jake taking at bats in this lineup right now. Obviously the season ender to Ramon Laureano. Again, I fully understand that that Ramon was slumping, but now you do wonder how much the hip had to do with that. And bottom line is, he's supposed to be your starting left fielder. This is a guy you were counting on in a major way at the start of the season. So you don't need any more serious injuries. It does sound again like they've avoided that with Andujar, and we'll see if he's available tonight. Wouldn't be surprised if they try to give him a day regardless, but sounds like a potential, if the right situation arises, that you could see him pinch hit tonight. We'll see.
Sam Levitt, you're around these guys more than we are, and I'm just curious, Manny probably as well as any of us. How close do you think he is to firing something at the wall, or what I mean, not doing any harm to himself, but getting to the point where he's just beyond mentally frustrated? Because Manny Machado is as cool as the cucumber every time we ask him stuff and this, that, and the baseball card answers and all that, which I get. But you almost think at some point, or privately, he's just got to be fit to be tied, because his great confidence can only carry for so long.
Yeah, I think it is startling to see where the numbers are. I mean, when people keep bringing up the fact that he has the lowest qualified batting average in Major League Baseball, that is just unbelievably hard to stomach, really, when you consider who this guy has been. Now, I will continue to say, for as subpar as it's been for Manny, and trust me, nobody knows that more than him, okay? You think this guy who's been doing this for 15 years, who's on a Hall of Fame path, who is so used to putting up certain kinds of numbers, you think he doesn't know where his average is and the fact that his numbers are so far below where they typically are? I'm sure he knows, and while he may not voice it in a super demonstrative way publicly, whether it be on the field with his frustration or with the media with his frustration, and I don't think he has. I mean, I would imagine he's incredibly frustrated at some level with what's been going on. Again, I don't have a great answer, other than to say, he's got to start hitting better. And, look, with Manny, I'll say this. Until we get to the very end of the year and this has not turned around, there will be a piece of me that will continue to believe that Manny Machado will ultimately get going, because he's just done it so often throughout the course of his career. And look, in that sense, there's a long way to go. There are 98 games remaining. So look, he'd have to be on a torrid pace to now get close to his numbers based on what the first 2+ months have been. But there is a chance for him to make this a better year than what it's been. And I guess I'll continue to hope and believe that stretch for Manny is going to come. I do want to touch on just the whole analytics answer. And that got, I to be honest, I was shocked at how much play that got. I was there. To me, it was kind of tongue in cheek for Manny. Like, I thought it got turned into way more than what it was. To me, it was kind of tongue in cheek. To me, it was like, we've heard Manny say this kind of stuff before, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I thought he was kind of not playing around, but being more playful about it, rather than it being a shot at Steven Souza or, a total just lack of understanding the importance of analytics. Also, when, he's talking about numbers up on the board, the numbers up on the board don't help you hit the pitcher on the mound. Okay. There's a difference between understanding what WOBA and FIP is and understanding what the pitcher is throwing you. The WOBA and FIP's not going to help you hit the ball. So, look, I understand why it rubbed people the wrong way. I was kind of shocked at how much play it got. I also think if Manny is at his typical numbers, the reality is we're all like, haha, that's kind of funny. Oh, look at Manny, see ball, hit ball. It all ties back to the fact that his numbers are where they are. And unfortunately, because of that, it felt like something, I think, to a lot of people that wasn't funny. That was like, oh, okay. So, so I get it. But I was kind of shocked at how much play that got. But at a level, I do understand why it wasn't maybe a great look. Considering what's
I think everybody's just trying to find an answer. I'm going to give you one last thing, Sam, and let you go. I know you've got things you got to get done, but Tony and I discussed this today, and I'm not trying to get, paid by the Padres for saying it. The only good news of all of this, everything terrible that's happened to this offense, is the fact that it's not too late to salvage this thing. You're still very much in the season. Thank you. That's my check arriving from the Padres for saying something positive. But yeah, I'm right? I mean, if they could just kind of change it, it's not like their hope is all hope is lost.
Of course not. Of course not. There's a lot of baseball left to play, but I do think, and I assume you agree, it has to change here coming up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because the schedule's getting tougher. I'll tell you this, like I find all the talk about the deadline right now sort of comical. Like, it's June 8th. The deadline is not till the end of July. Like, what are we worrying about the deadline right now? If they don't start playing significantly better than the way they're playing right now, guess what? You're going to get to mid-July. It's not going to matter if you keep, playing at this kind of level. You play a little better, you'll hang around and I'm sure kind of be in the mix. But if they keep playing like this, it's not going to matter. So, Chris, I think all those things can be true at once. There's a lot of season left. You've got a lot of talent on this team. It's hard to believe that they could play this poorly offensively the entire year, although the numbers right now aren't good at all. If you're a Padres fan, I guess I just encourage you to hold out some hope that they're going to get this going. And I do think there are aspects of this team, whether the bullpen or the starting pitching, which I think for the most part is, been pretty good. Obviously there have been some struggles there as well, but you will get guys back. You will get a little bit healthier. If you can just sort of get things going offensively and hover around and give A.J. Preller a chance to give you a little help at the deadline, whatever that looks like. Yes, of course, there's a lot of baseball left to play, but I do think just in the very small picture of these last 2 to 3 weeks, it's very important that they start playing better soon. Because, again, it kind of feels like this could start slipping away based on the schedule and if offensively they don't start producing more. So I do view this as a pretty critical next few weeks, or really I would look up until the All-Star break right now and say, hey, they have got to find a way to turn this around over the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. And I think especially from an offensive standpoint, you hope they show you something and that there's kind of light at the end of the tunnel, especially for some of these star guys.
It was Sammy Levitt who pointed out to Adam and I that the Padres are on pace right now to be as bad as the 1908 Brooklyn Superbas baseball team. I don't even know what that is. Superbas. That was the team in Brooklyn's nickname, Superbas. In 1908, that team hit 213. Padres are at 214, 118 years later. Not the kind of history you want to be part of. Sam, thanks for everything as always, man. Good luck tonight to your Knickerbockers.
1908, the Levitts weren't even in America yet.
Yeah,
they weren't even. My family was from Brooklyn. They weren't even in Brooklyn yet.
They weren't there yet. Well, Adam and these guys will tell you that I was there at their opening game that year. So that's how.
I'll say one more thing, Padres fans. I'll talk to you in like 23 minutes here, but keep the faith. There's a long way to go, and hopefully this team starts turning it around and playing a better brand of baseball. So keep a little faith, and hopefully, as they say, it's darkest before the dawn, right? Hopefully,
heard that one.
Dawn,
yeah.
The dawn is, here, and the sun is rising.
We're trying them all. We're trying all the things we can try. Sammy, you're the man. Sam
all right,
Levitt.
guys, see ya.
All right, we'll take a break. Sammy's down there at the ballpark. We'll be going to him for the pregame in about 15, 20 minutes. In the meantime, we got a couple of more numbers to pass along to you. They are all hard to believe at this point. But look, we have to face our fears before we can overcome them. I don't know if anybody ever said that, but they should have. That's kind of a good line. More Gwynn and Chris coming up.
Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help, and there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Scraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick, so Goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break and the commercials did not play, and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not mean for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me.
Skraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm gonna laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Scravy, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. That was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called the One Chip Challenge. It was sitting there in the aisle, and I thought, why not? Because I am into spicy stuff. But this thing looks pretty hot. I'm not going to lie. It says a Reaper pepper and a Scorpion pepper. It's also in the shape of a coffin, which doesn't make me very happy about that. It doesn't make me feel good. Oh, extreme heat, it says. I'm going to try a little bit first, just so I don't die, I guess. That's the thing I'm saying. This looks... I don't even know if I should be eating this. It looks like it has mold or something, but let's see how hot it is. Let's go. There's a little bit of spice there. It's going. Oh, man. This is hot. It's not that bad, though. I still have this side to go. It is getting hot. I'm not gonna lie. My mouth is like getting crazy. Now it's kicking in. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish this. Honestly, it's getting serious. I gotta go with the milk. My mouth is dying right now. Yeah, this is not fun, guys. Never gonna do that again because my mouth is on fire. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help. And there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Scraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick. So goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break and the commercials did not play, and the program won't shut down. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to do some Control-Alt-Delete over here. Control-Alt-Delete. Okay, I got it. Task Manager. It's not coming up. There it goes. Task Manager came up, everybody. I have no idea. I'm way too generous with my stroke giving. Never mind.
Are you really?
Never mind.
Wait.
I did not mean for that to happen. I did not.
That sounds like a promo to me.
Skraby's giving out strokes. I can't wait to hear that one. I'm gonna laugh for a while on that one.
Nate says, Scravy, maybe you should date her.
You might be a generous stroke giver, but I don't think she really wants to leave her boyfriend for that.
All right, that was good. That was good. In full disclosure, I'm reading this. Tony can't gather himself right now. That was a good one, Chris. That was a really good one. So I saw this at 7-Eleven, and I had to get it. It's called the One Chip Challenge. It was sitting there in the aisle, and I thought, why not? Because I am into spicy stuff. But this thing looks pretty hot. I'm not going to lie. It says a Reaper pepper and a Scorpion pepper. It's also in the shape of a coffin, which doesn't make me very happy about that. It doesn't make me feel good. Oh, extreme heat, it says. I'm going to try a little bit first, just so I don't die, I guess. That's the thing I'm saying. This looks... I don't even know if I should be eating this. It looks like it has mold or something, but let's see how hot it is. Let's go. There's a little bit of spice there. It's going. Oh, man. This is hot. Not that bad, though. I still have this side to go. It is getting hot. I'm not going to lie. My mouth is, like, getting crazy. Now it's kicking in. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish this. Honestly, it's getting serious. I gotta go with the milk. My mouth is dying right now. Yeah, this is not fun, guys. Never gonna do that again because my mouth is on fire. Thank you for listening to 97.3 The Fan. Be back shortly. I would be back shortly if the thing will click. See, I'm clicking. I have no idea what's happening. It's not playing any commercials right now. Well, this is just great, everybody. Let me see if I could try to start another one. All right. Well, this is awesome. On the air right now with no help, and there are no commercials to be played. Actually, you know what I'm going to do, everybody? You're getting a real live thing right here. This is real live Matt Scraby. I'm going to have to restart Wide Orbit real quick, so goodbye, Wide Orbit. It's not even closing. I'm going to text Adam, and I'm going to say, Adam, I tried to go to break, and the commercials did not play.
Bill House Studios, we definitely know how. They're cozy and comfy as well. Bill House Studios, thanks for being part of our program today. Gwynn and Chris, Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park. Sam Levitt just joined us from there. He'll have the Padre pregame show here in a little bit. Adam Klug in on the ones and twos today for Mr. Scraby. Padres and Reds, the ball game tonight. We've really not talked much about this game because I don't think really anybody's thinking about the game. You're thinking about just, can the Padres get some hits?
We're catching them without Ellie, though, right?
Sorry?
We're catching
no Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, he's on the IL. Reds have been slumping, too, in his absence. They've fallen below 500 at 31 and 33. Below 500 is about the only thing the Padres haven't fallen. Overall, Padres have dropped 13 of 17 games. That's not a good stretch. And as we mentioned earlier, they've scored 5 runs or more only once in the last 2 weeks. So you got to win with 4 every time. I know people are talking about the bullpen has faltered a little here and there. Vasquez didn't have a great start yesterday, no question. But really, does any of that matter? Like, so what? You know, I mean, you give up a run or 2, game's over. So that's got to change. And hopefully it will begin changing tonight against Andrew Abbott, a left-hander who's always been tough on the Padres.
I'm going to do something that I shouldn't do. I know better, but I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to get you riled up a little bit. This story we talked about earlier today that I know you've said should be the biggest story in sports is Brennan Sorsby, the Texas Tech quarterback,
right,
who admitted to not only betting on college football games, but betting on games he played in.
Yeah.
Was granted a temporary injunction and allowed to play for Texas Tech. The NCAA came out and said they're going to appeal the ruling.
Okay.
All 4 justices on the 7th Court of Appeals in Texas are Texas Tech graduates. Just saw this on Twitter.
So he's going to
they're going to uphold it.
He's going to be appealing to 4 Texas Tech grads.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have.
The NCAA is that is
you and
quite
Tony had such
crazy.
a good discussion, and I had to let you know all of these justices are Texas Tech grads, which is where he transferred to and is going to play.
Look, I mean, I'm reading stories today on the on the internet that I think a lot of you will probably come across later tonight if you want to read more about this, but. People around college football are predicting like a doomsday for the sport based on this kind of decision.
They're
today.
losing their minds, and rightfully
it is
so.
It is that awful to people who live their lives heart and soul in college sports, and even the NCAA, which doesn't deserve any of our our support, because the NCAA itself, their own organization, is less than stellar. But how are you supposed to ever institute any rules if all the person who breaks the rules can go to the courts and say, hey, I was, first of all, I was, I was a gambler and I couldn't help it. So, that's part of it. Secondly, since you're punishing me, I now can't make a living. I mean, it's just, as I said when talking to Tony, if you extrapolate it out to its most extreme, just about everybody in prison ought to be able to get out and go make money and live their lives. We're keeping them from doing that by, putting them in jail. I don't understand this ruling, and nor does anybody else around sports and college sports. And if players can, talk about trying to get NIL under control and the transferring out of control, it's just going to get crazier and crazier and crazier, because every time you try to put an injunction to stop anything, some lawyer finds some judge somewhere who will not allow it. So blame a lot of different things, but I also blame Texas Tech. You don't have to play the guy. You don't. And I'm looking forward to the coach of Texas Tech, who I'm sure is some, shyster guy. I don't know the Texas Tech coach's name.
Joey McGuire, is his name?
I know he got into a big thing because, he got into it with Sarkisian, the Texas coach, because Sarkisian said, dude, you're playing like Little Sisters of the Poor and you're a top 10 team. And then he came back and shot back with, well, we'll play you. But when he said that, there was no way they could ever get that game together. So it's very easy for him to say that. Anyway, Texas Tech, you don't have to play this kid at quarterback. You just don't. They can put whatever rules they want in. But damn well Texas Tech going to play him. And darn well if you're a Texas Tech fan, you're going to go to the games and you're going to cheer for him. And that's just how it goes. And the beat goes on. But unfortunately, this is a really, really troubling decision. But that is hilarious and ironic that if they are able to appeal the decision, 4 Texas Tech grads are going to have to rule on it. I saw tonight where Josh Naylor hit a grand slam for the Mariners. Saw tonight where Paul Goldschmidt, remember old Paul Goldschmidt? I thought he retired 10 years ago. He hit his 8th home run of the year tonight for the Yankees. I saw Adolis Garcia, who's having an awful year for the Phillies, hit his 7th home run of the year tonight. I'm bringing all of this up because every night around baseball, guys hit home runs. And it's not just Schwarber, and it's not just, Judge, and it's not just the guys you expect. It's pretty much everybody who plays baseball, except seemingly one player.
Ernie Clement just hit a home run off of Christopher Sanchez. Ernie Clement, utility second baseman for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, just went deep off Christopher Sanchez. That is his 7th.
You can't predict baseball, right?
Well, one thing we seemingly can predict is the fact that one guy who won't be hitting home runs wears number 23 for the Padres. And I know that Fernando is in everybody's pretty good graces right now. He's hit 380 in his last 15 games. But how he is just cannot hit a home run is one of the most incredible mysteries that I've come across in baseball in a long time. And, we all said, well, once he hits one, that'll finally get him going. Guess what? It's been 32 plate appearances since his last home run. So that clearly did not get him going. Freddie Fermin now has twice as many home runs as Fernando. It is amazing to me that this guy does not have more than one home run, but it was amazing when he had 0. How much longer can that continue? I don't know. How long can all of this continue? We don't know. Hopefully tomorrow when we reconvene at 2:00, we'll have some offense to talk about. I mentioned it's been since May 5th. And in that time, the Padres have played 29 games. They've had more than 10 hits in none of those games. Thank you, Adam Klug. Very good. Always fun having you in, working with you. As a matter of fact, if we have to take Scraby back, I guess we will. But We'll see where we are tomorrow. Tony and I back together. Enjoy the game. Sam Levitt's pregame show is next. Adios.